Chapter 887. Hee, I don't care. Anyway, you have already accepted the mission. You must complete it within 300 years. Of course, you can choose not to do it. But, you know the system's punishment. When the time comes, even I won't be able to save you. Besides. As the little dragon spoke, his eyes flashed with anticipation. Don't forget that you promised me a physical body. I've been waiting for it. Lin Rei was speechless. He didn't say anything. He knew what the little dragon was talking about. Besides, he had always felt guilty towards the little dragon. Along the way, he had been alone many times. And every time, he had to pay the price of falling into a deep sleep. Regarding this, all right. Nodding, he raised his head to look at Xiaolong. Seeing the amused smile on Xiaolong's face, Linli was startled. He then said, "Don't worry. I'll think of a way to get my body back. However, for your physical body, you must use the best one. If you casually refine a physical body, your power will be restrained. So, I understand. Do as you see fit. I'll listen to you. You have the final say in this aspect." The little dragon's smile was still there. Especially after hearing Lin Rei's words, his heart was filled with warmth. Okay. Since that's the case, when I find a suitable physical body for you, I will start refining it for you. But before that, I need to find you some materials to refine your physical body. These materials may take some time because, those materials are very rare. It can even be said that they don't exist in the divine world. Perhaps you can only find them in the holy world. Huh? Can only find them in the holy world? The little dragon was puzzled. He didn't know what to say. He had an omnipotent system by his side. Why did he say that it could only be found in the holy world? Lin Rei understood the little dragon's doubts. The things in the system are too expensive. Every item you need will cost tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. I can't afford it. Besides, even if I buy it on credit, how many missions do you think I need to complete? How many people do I need to save up? 100 years? 1,000 years? 10,000 years or 100,000 years? If that's the case, why don't we find it for you after we enter the saint's world? That might be much faster. What do you think? The little dragon didn't want to say anything more to Lin Rei. He shook his head helplessly and sighed. All right, do as you see fit. Just let me know if you need anything. The Great Tao of Space and the Great Tao of Slaughter. Any one of these two Great Taos would be enough for you to break through to the Saint Realm quickly. However, at the same time, although the speed of the breakthrough has increased, the danger that comes with it has also increased greatly. You should understand this. Yes, understood. Lin Rei nodded in agreement. It's good that you know. Anyway, fortune and misfortune depend on each other, and misfortune is caused by fortune. You, do as you see fit. With that, the little dragon's figure began to fade. I'm going to rest first. I'll leave the rest to you. I believe that I don't need to do anything with these small fries. As for the two great Taos, remind me when you find them. At that time, I'll tell you how to absorb and refine them into several bodies. Looking at the little dragon's fading figure, Lin Rei nodded. Got it. You can go now. Leave the rest to me. The moment Lin Rei finished speaking, the little dragon's figure completely disappeared and returned to the system. Coming back to his senses, Linli felt that he was running out of time. Two grand Taos. In the eyes of most people, finding and fusing with them within 300 years was an impossible task. But, for Linli, the only thing that mattered was that it would be better if he completed it. The impossible didn't exist for Lin Rei at all. Not for any other reason, but because the price of completing the impossible was too great. He couldn't afford it, and he didn't dare to pay it. Phew, letting out a long sigh, the tension in his heart calmed down a little. Forget it. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. I'll cross the bridge when I come to it. What's the big deal if I lose my head? No, I can't let anything happen to me. I still have to ride on the battlefield and achieve immortality. Thinking of this, Lin Rei couldn't help but laugh foolishly. In this regard, the remaining few saints of the Biyao clan were startled. The Biyao was fine, but the saints were stunned. They were completely afraid of Lin Rei's smile, so they couldn't help but take 2 steps back. They wanted to escape far away from Lin Rei's smile. No, nothing. Hearing the voice of the Biyao, Lin Rei came back to his senses and responded. His eyes locked on the saints. Looking at them, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. However, this murderous intent swept past in an instant. I, Lin Rei, am a man of my word. I will abide by my decision and not kill you. After saying that, Lin Rei turned around and was about to leave. Seeing Lin Rei's action, a smile appeared on the corner of the Biyao's mouth. He knew Lin Rei's thoughts very well. After all, they had been together for thousands of years. How could he not know Lin Rei's thoughts? Ah. Thank you, thank you. Seeing that Lin Rei was so trustworthy, the man and the others hurriedly knelt on the ground and thanked him again and again. Okay. In response, Lin Li took a step forward. His figure flashed and disappeared from where he was standing. However, the space around Shadow began to blur and twist. In the next moment, Lin Li, who had disappeared in the distance, suddenly reappeared and grabbed Shadow. Ah! Ing cried out in alarm. Facing the hand that had suddenly reached out, Ing subconsciously mobilized his cultivation base to fight. Damn, you! What are you doing? Are you trying to murder your husband? Husband! Husband! The curse had already been cast and was about to be thrown to Lin Rei, but fortunately, Ying's control was strong. When she heard her husband's voice, the curse instantly flashed past Lin Rei's ear. Boom! An enormous explosion rang out from 1,000 meters behind Lin Li. The buildings he had taken out were instantly destroyed, with not even a speck of dust remaining. In this regard, Lin Rei, who felt this powerful strength, broke out in cold sweat. His heart trembled slightly. Obviously, he scared Lin Rei just now. If the attack just now bombarded him, the consequences, thinking about it, Lin Rei felt a burst of fear in his heart and then shook his head to stop himself from thinking about it. However, at this time, Ing observed Lin Rei's appearance at the moment. With a puff sound, she directly burst out laughing. That face was like a spring breeze, that voice was like an aureole. In an instant, the fear in her heart was swept away. Humph, still laughing, looking down at his wife, Lin Rei's interest was aroused. Then, he slapped her buttocks. If there's a next time, I'll punish you. Well, I know, husband. At this moment, Ying's face was blushing, looking like a little girl. She had completely lost her previous valiant and invincible momentum. However, in the distance, Biyao did not have a chance to see Lin Rei. At this moment, he only had one thought. It was nothing else but to kill. He wanted to kill these cultivators who were related to the heavenly court. Looking at the remaining people, Biyao sneered, "Come on, you've already finished your business with Lin Li, and he also said that he won't kill you. Since that's the case, let's settle the score between us." Everyone who was originally happy because they were let go suddenly heard the Biyao say so. Suddenly, their originally happy and excited hearts, with a plop, instantly fell. As the saying goes, the higher you stand, the more miserable you will fall. It seems that this is the feeling now. Plop, without any hesitation, several saints directly knelt on the ground. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. Their faces were full of grievances and begging for mercy. Looking at Biyao, the leading man kowtowed and begged for mercy. "Senior, although we are from the heavenly court, we don't know anything about you and Heavenly Emperor Haotian. Moreover, you are a powerful person in the untainted land. What about us? We are just ants in the later generations. We have nothing to do with your affairs." At this moment, the man almost called himself a beast in order to let Pai Xiu let him and his companions behind him go. Say, Senior, please let us go as if we are farts. Don't you need to kill us? How about this, I'll be an errand boy in front of you, as long as you don't kill us. Die. Without any nonsense, after listening to the man's words, Pai Xiu's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. I am not bound by the Tao at all. You can say that I am myself. The Tao cannot detect my existence at all. No. No. Impossible, you can't. The man couldn't believe what Lin Rei said. What a joke. What kind of existence was the Tao? Tendo was only one of the many branches of the Tao. However, the Tao existed in nothingness. In other words, the Tao was everywhere. Everything in the world was within the Tao. It was impossible for someone to jump out of the 6 paths and not be within the 5 elements. It was even more impossible for someone to not be outside of the Tao. It can't be helped if you don't believe me. After all, I am the only existence that is not within the Tao. So, no matter how much trouble I cause, at most, I will only be moving my mouth. The man was speechless. Looking at Lin Rei's serious look, the man began to believe in his heart. But, so what? In the current situation, even if he believed it, what could he do? In the end, he could not escape the result, death. At this moment, the man no longer tried to escape. He landed from the sky and sat on the ground. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. His face was filled with indescribable bitterness. I didn't expect that there would be someone like you in the divine realm. I'm afraid that even those reclusive old men in the holy world would be restless if they knew about it. With an existence like you, no matter who it is, they would be terrified. Even Tendo and the Tao would not be an exception. Although he was talking to himself, everyone heard him very clearly. At this moment, no one spoke. Only the Pai Xiu was still crazily lying on the sofa. The sound of splattering could be heard constantly. 6 people were killed by the Pai Xiu until only the man was left. Sigh. I don't want to, but... As he spoke, a 3 feet long cold light appeared in his hand. He looked at Lin Rei with endless sorrow. The strength of the heavenly court is very terrifying. Especially since the Tao ancestor has already appeared. Along with all the reclusive people, they will come one after another. If you want to enter the holy world, you must be careful of the heavenly emperor. Speaking until here, the man did not speak anymore. He smiled bitterly twice. His eyes were filled with determination. He waved his sword and stabbed his heart from top to bottom. Splatter, the sound of flesh being pierced could be heard on the spot. The man's sword pierced through his heart. His eyes that were originally shining with vigor began to slack at this moment. Chapter 888. Everyone from the Rain Sect saw what happened to the man. They could only lower their heads in silence, not daring to look at Lin Rei and the others. Even though there were peak ultimate venerable cultivators in this group, they were just ants in front of a saint. However, who could kill such a high and mighty saint so easily? So what if they had ultimate venerable cultivators? Would they dare to make a sound? No, the answer was no. They had no reason to do so, and they didn't have the strength to do so. In this dog-eat-dog world, the law was like this. If you were stronger than the other party, you could do whatever you wanted. If you were weaker than the other party, you could only keep quiet. Otherwise, you could only end up like this. The strong preyed on the weak. The fittest survived, and the unfit were eliminated. The law of the world was there, and no one could do anything about it. It's good that he's dead. At this time, it's better to die. Looking at the man's corpse, a hint of sadness flashed through Linley's eyes. Perhaps even Linley himself didn't notice the look on his face. Whoosh. A stream of illusory spirit blood fire rushed out and landed on the man's corpse. In an instant, the corpse was burned to ashes, and not even a trace of it was left. Just like that, the massacre ended, and Lin Rei's anger subsided a lot. However, as for Haotian, even if the incident just now didn't happen, he would still kill this group of people. After all, if it wasn't for Haotian, he wouldn't have lost his sight back then. However, in the other two sects, Alienation and Cullen, they had both received help. However, Cullen's situation wasn't optimistic, but he still managed to escape from the Danzong sect. After all, the ones who went to support them were the ancient corpse vault's master, Gu Feng, and Lin Xianyuan, who had just reached the ultimate venerable realm in this life, and those who followed Cullen this time were all peak ultimate venerable realm existences, so escaping wasn't a problem at all. As for the Sword Sect, it was Lin Rei's doppelganger, Sakura, who was going to the Sword Sect. Lin Rei was not worried about him at all. After all, Lin Rei was very clear about Sakura's ability. As long as he was not at the peak of the sage realm, a sage like him would not be able to stop Sakura. At this moment, everything was settled. Raising his head to look at the members of the Rain sect, a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. Of course, it was just a flash of killing intent. He didn't really want to kill them all. No matter what, the Rain sect was still a top-notch power that supported the entire firmament. It wouldn't be good to destroy them just like that. Furthermore, although he was not in the Tao, Linley still believed in negative karma. After all, his killing intent was getting thicker and thicker. Let's go. Arriving at the Pishio side, Lin Rei looked at the group and nodded. With a thought, his divine sense wrapped around the group, and in an instant, the group disappeared. Phew, they're finally gone. Put on. After sensing that Lin Rei and the others' auras were far away from the Rain sect, everyone exhaled heavily, and their bodies relaxed. In the next moment, everyone, including the Rain sect's grand elders, fell to the ground powerlessly. Apart from the expression of being lucky to have escaped disaster, everyone's faces were filled with joy, excitement, happiness, and tears. Their expressions were extremely complicated. However, 100,000 miles away from the Rain sect, there was a mountain range. The mountain range was very magnificent, and the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time. At this moment, in the center of the mountain range, on the tallest mountain peak, the space twisted, and in the next moment, a group of people appeared on the mountain peak. Holy shit, Lin Rei, can you tell us first next time? How did you know we were going to come here? This group of people was Lin Rei and the others that the Rain sect and the Tools sect were afraid of. After leaving the Rain sect, Lin Rei directly used teleportation to come here. After all, this place was quiet and surrounded by mountains. No one would disturb them. You. If you don't come with me, where do you think you're going? Seeing the Pai Shio like that, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. However, he didn't give the Pai Shio any face and directly retorted, besides, there are benefits for you to come with me. Do you think I'm like you? Just because of a medicinal field, you've been nagging me the whole way. My ears are still hurting from all the noise. Seriously. Hey, holy shit, what do you mean? Hearing Lin Rei's words, the Pai Shio immediately became angry. Damn you, if you didn't send me a message, I would still be happily eating medicinal herbs right now. Now that the matter is done, are you going to burn the bridge after crossing the river? Do you believe I won't? What? Seeing that the Pai Shio was getting more and more excited, Lin Rei's eyes widened. He held the spear in his hand, and an aura of battle surged. Come, I want to see who you are. When the time comes, I will help you to beat you down and peel off your Pai Shio skin to make clothes for little you. I believe that clothes made from your skin will definitely have a strong defense. Hey, I'm super, you're crazy, you're definitely staring. Okay, don't you want to fight? Come. I will fight you for 300 rounds. I will let you know what kind of strength has been preserved since the ancient times, so that you won't be a frog in a well. The scene became more and more intense. Seeing this scene, everyone looked helpless. Even Lin Wanyu directly covered her face with her hands, as if she didn't know them. Whoosh, whoosh, suddenly, just when Lin Rei and the Pai Shio were arguing with each other, two sounds broke through the air. Everyone looked over with vigilance. Hee, no need to look. Little 5 and little 2 are back. At this time, Lin Rei's face revealed a smile and said to everyone. Yes, hearing this, the vigilance in everyone's eyes instantly disappeared and returned to calmness. However, their hearts were still a little vigilant, but they didn't show it on the surface. Whoosh, looking up, they saw 9 people rushing towards where they were. Especially when they saw Sakura, everyone couldn't help but be surprised. Although they had seen him before, and Ying and the others also knew, they couldn't help but be surprised when they saw him again. Looking at Sakura, Ying turned around and looked at her husband with a bitter look. In this regard, sensing the bitterness from his wife, Lin Rei instantly understood. He couldn't tell her and could only stiffen his neck and look at Sakura. Humph, pervert, making an avatar to look like yourself. Aren't you afraid that your wife will recognize the wrong person? F***ck, damn you, Pai Xiu. Originally, he was worried because of his wife's bitter look, and now Pai Xiu, this bastard, actually added fuel to the fire. Sure enough, in an instant, a touch of coldness came from the side. Without thinking, Lin Rei knew who it was. He didn't dare to look and just looked at Pai Xiu, speechless. Okay, don't make trouble. Little 5 and little 2 are back. Let's see if they're injured first. While talking, the 2 groups of people sped up. The next moment, they arrived and landed on the mountain peak. Plop, the 2 groups of people just landed. Except for Sakura, the others knelt in front of Lin Rei. Young master, subordinate is incompetent and couldn't protect little master. It's really, yes, young master, subordinate is incompetent and couldn't protect little Mississippi young master, please punish us. No, it's not like that. At the side, when little 5 and little 2 heard the people protecting them saying so, they hurriedly pleaded with Lin Rei. Master, yes, enough. At this time, Lin Rei didn't give the 2 a chance to plead and was interrupted. This matter is not your fault. No one thought that the sage would suddenly descend to the mortal world. Regarding this, it's my fault for not thinking it through and causing you all to fall into danger. After saying that, he waved his hand and a huge amount of spiritual power instantly turned into a few big hands, grabbing the people kneeling on the ground. Let's leave this matter as it has already happened. However, there are more important things now, so, let's not talk about this matter anymore. When Lin Rei said this, Pai Xiu, who was originally indifferent at the side, became serious at this moment. Because, he knew that Lin Rei was going to talk about the news that had just arrived. Oh, that's right, little 5 and little 2, are you all okay? Just when Pai Xiu thought that Lin Rei was going to talk about serious matters, such a sentence was heard. Suddenly, the original serious face disappeared. No, nothing, master, I'm just a little tired. After all, this is the first time I saw a real sage. Their pressure is really too strong. At the side, Carl had an excited expression. If it was dark, perhaps little stars could be seen spinning in his expression. Seeing his disciple like this, Lin Rei was speechless. How was this tiredness? This was clearly too excited. However, even so, Lin Rei still took out 2 medicinal pills from his storage ring and gave them to the 2 of them as he said, "Eat these medicinal pills and go to the side to recover." Master, I didn't. Looking at the medicinal pills, Carl subconsciously wanted to refuse. However, just as he was about to say what he was thinking, a hand reached out from behind and tightly grabbed his shoulder. Just take what Master gave you. Moreover, we really do need to recover. After all, we can't fight against a sage right now. The person who spoke was none other than a strange trace, who had just returned. Saying this, he took the medicinal pills and smiled. Thank you, Master. I'll go and recover first. As he spoke, he brought Karun over and walked away alone. Finally, he found an empty and clean place and sat down cross-legged. He swallowed the pill in his hand and began to recover. As for Carl, seeing a strange trace like this, he didn't say anything and took the medicinal pills. He sat down next to a strange trace and also started to cultivate. Seeing his two disciples like this, Lin Rei smiled and looked at everyone with a serious expression. This time, you might have to stop your original plans. What's going on? Seeing Lin Rei's expression, Sakura knew that this matter was very big. Otherwise, with his understanding of Lin Rei, something of ordinary difficulty wouldn't make Lin Rei so serious. Two Tao essences have left Tendo, and according to the news, they seem to have come to the godly realm. These two Tao essences are very powerful, and if we can obtain them, it will greatly shorten the time it takes to become a saint. SSS, at this moment, apart from the group of people who already knew about it, everyone else sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. The Tao essences had reached such a level, it was impossible that no one knew about it. If they could obtain it, it would greatly shorten the time it takes to become a saint. Of course, for them and Lin Rei, it was already very good to be able to become a saint after refining one of the Tao essences. Moreover, the prerequisite was that he needed time. Alright, don't be so shocked. This is the so-called matter that all the saints who came down to the lower realm, so, there are many people competing with us. I want to obtain these two Tao essences. You should know what to do. Everyone understood. Don't worry, I will go wandering after we part ways. If there are any abnormalities, I will definitely inform you. At this moment, Sakura was the first to speak. Alright, I'll go too. Anyway, I'm bored now, so it's not bad to go wandering. By the way, I'll help you observe if there are any abnormalities. Remember, it's by the way. Pai Xiu stood out and said. But for the sake of face, so, hee. Looking at Pai Xiu, Lin Rei smiled and came to his side. He put his arm around his shoulder and said with a smile, alright, I know you well. If you want to help, just say it. By the way, you're really shameless. For a moment, Pai Xiu didn't know what to say. He knew that if he said anything, Lin Rei would be even more proud. Pai Xiu didn't say anything and just stood aside. Hee. Looking at Pai Xiu, Lin Rei smiled and took out some voice transmission jade slips and threw them to everyone. This instant transmission jade slips, every one of them is priceless. Just treat it as a training trip for everyone. Maybe you can come across it. Looking at everyone in a daze, Lin Rei looked at Lin Wanyu and the other disciples and said, you don't have to go out for a while. Just follow me. I'll use this time to give you a devilish training. I guarantee that after this, your cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Especially you, Xiao Yu. What's wrong with me, master? Lin Wanyu was confused when she heard her master mention her name. You have to hurry up and cultivate. When you break through to Supreme God, I'll give you something good. Of course, if you don't break through in the time I set, then, Lin Rei shook his head as he said that, indicating that if she didn't complete the task, he wouldn't give her anything. I'll work hard. She was excited. All right. She nodded and looked at everyone. Then, her gaze fell on Lu Yuan, Gu Tongfeng, and Xiao Shui. Looking at them, Lin Rei said. He didn't have time to spare for them today. Follow me to Talisman Grandmaster. Yes, we'll do as you say. Hearing this, Lu Yuan and the other two quickly agreed. They were still in a daze at the moment. After all, what happened just now was too shocking. All right. Since that's the case, then you can go. Time is tight and the task is important. Xiao, Lin Rei, goodbye. He cupped his hands and said to everyone. Chapter 889. Yes, Master. Alright, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. Since there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. After Lin Rei finished speaking, everyone bowed to Lin Rei before they turned into streams of flowing light and disappeared. In the blink of an eye, there were only a few people left. Apart from his two wives, 5 disciples, Gu Tongfeng, Lu Yuan and his daughter, the rest of the people left. The scene suddenly became quiet. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lin Rei as if they were waiting for an order. All of you. Lin Rei was stunned when he sensed everyone's gaze. Then, he smiled and said, "All right, all of you can return to the Talisman Sect with me. As for the origin of Tao, all of you don't have to worry about it." "Yes, Master." "All right." Hearing this, everyone responded in succession. "However, my husband, this is..." Shadow's voice suddenly rang out. Lin Li turned to look, only to see Shadow pointing at Little Snow, who was behind Lu Yuan, with an amused look on his face. "Yes. My husband, how long has it been since we parted? Why do you have such a beautiful girl by your side?" Ice did not stay idle at the side. She echoed ing. Looking at the two of them, Lin Li felt as though his head was about to explode. But of course, after all these years, he had come to understand one thing. That was to not reason with women. Because, they themselves were reason. Looking at the slightly timid Little Snow, Lin Rei smiled and said in an indifferent tone, "She's Lu Yuan's daughter. She's been cursed by the eternal night. This time, I accepted the mission from the Talisman Sect's mission hall and went to the Heavenly Cloud City to save her. I didn't expect to receive your message while I was refining pills. I'm afraid that something might happen to her, so," as he explained, he couldn't help but shift his feet between Ing and Ice. His speed was not very fast. Finally, he arrived beside the two of them. Lin Rei missed his wife very much when he saw her after a long time. However, how could he say such intimate things in a situation like this? All right, let's talk about this when we return to the Talisman Sect. Once Little 5 and Little 2 have recovered, we'll set off for the Talisman Sect." As he spoke, he looked at Lu Yuan's group of 3 and asked, "The 3 of you won't have any problems, right?" No. It's fine. You decide. No problem, whatever you say. I'll listen to Sir." At this moment, the 3 people's tones were the same. They were all respectful and courteous. They even used honorifics. All right. Seeing how respectful the 3 were, Lin Li chuckled and didn't mind too much. After all, what had happened just now had completely shaken them to the core. It could even be said that it had completely upended their understanding of the world. After all, before the battle between deities and saints, who would have thought that a deity could defeat a saint and even kill one? "Master, missed you so much during this period of time." That's right. "Master, Ro has missed you during this period of time." "Did you miss me?" Don't say any more." When he heard his 2 female disciples, a gratified smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. However, when he saw that his 3rd disciple was about to speak, he recalled what his 2 female disciples had said. He immediately felt a chill run down his spine and hurriedly spoke to stop his 3rd disciple. After saying what he wanted to say, Lin Rei felt that it was inappropriate and immediately explained, "Don't go back if you want to say anything. Little fatty, you can talk to your 4th sister in the great world." However, although he said that, he didn't think so in his heart. Sigh. It's the same for 2 disciples. You should have enough time to talk to them. Lin Xianyuan nodded his head as he looked at Lin Wanyu and Lin Yuro. He obediently stood at the side and didn't say anything. When Lu Yuan and the other 2 saw this scene, they were simply stunned. They knew the strength of these 3 people very well. "Say it, boss." Lin Rei turned around and asked Lin Wanyu, "Master hasn't been here during this period of time. How did you miss him? Tell us. If you say it well, there might be a reward." "Yes, tell us. Your master's things are all good. It would be a waste if you don't take them. Even if he doesn't have them, master's wife still has some good things. Although they can't be compared to your master's, but, in the entire divine world, other than your master, I don't think anyone else can take out such good things." That's right. Even if your master doesn't give it to you, master's wife will give it to you. What if you're bullied? At this moment, Ying and Bing hurriedly stepped forward and spoke. However, when their words reached Lu Yuan and the other two's ears, their hearts trembled and they smiled bitterly. Motherf ***** Ker, bullied? Are you kidding me? Late Divine Emperor cultivation. Their fighting power might even surpass early Divine Venerables. Who dares to bully them? They should be thanking the heavens and earth if they don't bully others. Moreover, in the entire divine world, I'm afraid only those reclusive sects or the supreme elders of the top sects can suppress them. As for the others. Of course, the three of them didn't dare to say that they missed the president. The three of them didn't say anything. They just stood there and listened quietly. However, when Lin Wanyu heard her master and master's wife's words, she immediately opened her mouth and couldn't stop. For a moment, Lin Rei's headache became bigger. Master, do you know how much your disciple misses you? I miss the old days. At this moment, Lin Wanyu was talking non-stop. Her expression was rich and varied. Sometimes she was sad, sometimes she was smiling, and sometimes she was happy. She was indescribably happy. Lin Rei covered his face and didn't want to say anything to his disciple. However, Ying and Bing were very happy to hear this. After all, she was praising their husband. From time to time, the two of them couldn't help but clap and cheer. In response, Lin Rei sat down on the ground and waited for her to finish. During this free time, Lin Rei went to the system space and opened the shop. Looking at the dazzling array of possibilities, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel excited. However, when he saw the prices, Lin Rei decisively didn't have the chance to buy anything that was so expensive that it was off the charts. System, adjust the prices of the possibilities to what I can bear. Of course, the possibilities you pick out must be good stuff. I don't want anything bad. Ding. System adjustment has been initiated. Please wait a moment, ding. System adjustment is in progress. Please wait a moment. System notifications rang out one after another, and the interface of the shop started to blur. Whoosh, one by one, the possibilities began to disappear. However, in the instant that the possibilities disappeared, a brand new possibility would appear. In terms of price, it was more humane. Of course, it was the price that Lin Rei could bear. After all, although he had paid back all the points and reputation he owed the system for killing the sage, he didn't have much left. 5 minutes later, the entire shop had been changed to prices that Lin Rei had set. Ding. System adjustment has been completed. Ding. Does the host require service? Service? Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was tempted. Although the system was his, he hadn't bought many things from it. Ding. If you require service, please pay 300,000 points or reputation. Lin Rei, scram, hurry up and scram. Without hesitation, he cursed. The tempted him now only wanted to find a fruit knife and stab the system a few times. Ding. You have insulted the system and received punishment. What? Punishment? At this moment, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. His face was blank. It was as if he was wondering who he was, where he was, and what he was doing. Ding. Lightning tribulation has been formed. Do you want to punish the host? F***CK, what's going on? Are you asking me? The system asked. Lin Rei replied instinctively. No. No. Perhaps Lin Rei was thinking too much. After he said no, the dark clouds in the sky didn't disperse. Instead, they became more intense. Looking at the situation, Lin Rei was in trouble. Ding. Punishment. Lin Rei, crackle. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. A lightning serpent as thick as a water bucket suddenly appeared from within the thunderclouds, and then struck directly towards Lin Li's head. F***CK, everything happened too quickly. Seeing that the lightning serpent was about to land on his head, Linley instinctively raised his Chaos Dragon spear in an attempt to block it. However, the system's next sentence stunned him. Ding. Warning. Warning, the host is now in the system. The host cannot use the Chaos Dragon spear or any other weapons. If the host violates the rules, the system will increase the lightning tribulation by 10 times. Ding. Host, please be careful, F***CK. With a swoosh, the Chaos Dragon spear was kept away. All his cultivation was removed. It wasn't that he didn't want to. It was that he couldn't. Even though he wasn't sure what level the lightning tribulation was, but, if the system used it, it must be something extraordinary. Most importantly, Linley believed that the system's punishment would be within the limits of what he could bear. But if the attack was increased by 10 times, needless to say, he would be turned into meat paste in the next moment. Of course, there was also the possibility that nothing would be left. Boom. With a muffled sound, the lightning fell. Lin Ray didn't dodge. He didn't want to lose face in front of the system. But, a hysterical scream came out of Lin Ray's mouth. The pain spread through his entire body. There wasn't a single part of his body that didn't feel the lightning tribulation. At this moment, Linley's body in the outside world began to tremble slightly. His originally rosy and healthy face instantly turned pale. At this moment, it was as if Linley had bathed in a pool of water. His clothes were completely soaked and stuck to his body. Husband. Husband, you. What happened to you? There was a scream. Bing, who had been listening quietly, glanced at Linley. His heart was in his throat. His figure flashed and came to Linley's side. He held him in his arms and called out with concern. What? What happened? At this moment, Ing came back to his senses and came to Lin Ray's side. A stream of spiritual energy entered Lin Ray's body. He wanted to investigate, but, the moment the spiritual energy entered Lin Ray's body, it disappeared like a yak entering the sea. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Looking at Lin Ray's current state, except for Little Fool and Little Five who were still recovering, everyone came to Lin Ray's side. They looked at him with concern and worry and started to pray. However, Lin Ray didn't know about this. At this moment, he was still suffering from the lightning tribulation. The pain continued to spread throughout his entire body. Linley was completely helpless. He discovered that in this place, not only was he unable to resist, he couldn't even use his body. Even a half-saint's body wouldn't be so unsightly. You deserve it. Who told you to be so presumptuous in front of the system? Now you're stupid. Lin Ray, who was suffering from the lightning tribulation, heard the little dragon's gloating voice. For a moment, he wanted to kick it away. But now, he couldn't do it. The pain had paralyzed his body. He couldn't do anything else. Great. Master, in the end, he didn't want to be gloated by the little dragon. He cursed the little dragon with difficulty. Then, he closed his 5 senses and ignored the little dragon. As for whether the little dragon said anything after that, he didn't know. Boom. Crack, then, another lightning tribulation swooped down and landed on Lin Ray's body. Although it was painful, Lin Ray also gained a lot of benefits. For example, when his physical body was sealed, Lin Ray felt that his physical body was much stronger than before. It was much better than before. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. The last lightning tribulation was finally safely passed by Lin Ray. But that set of clothes, he couldn't take it back. Right now, in the outside world, Linley's body had finally stopped trembling. His face had regained its normal color, and his breathing had returned to normal. It was as though nothing had happened at all. Phew. It's okay, it's okay. Seeing Lin Ray like this, Ing and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief. But Lin Ray hadn't woken up yet, and everyone was still a little worried. Damn it, really? Didn't I just say a few words casually? Is there a need to be so cruel? He secretly muttered in his heart, but his face showed a smile. He didn't dare to show his inner thoughts. After all, at least he didn't want to go through the pain just now again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving the system's first punishment. The reward for triggering the first punishment is a newbie punishment pack, 50,000 experience points, a godly travel talisman, and a fireball talisman. Damn it, looking at the gift box in front of him, Lin Rei was stunned and subconsciously said, I can get a reward like this? However, seeing that the system didn't respond, Lin Rei didn't say anything for a while. Ding! Discovered a gift box. Does the host want to open it? Yes. I must open it. Ding! Okay, please wait a moment. Ding! The gift box has been opened. Please check it yourself. Hee, let me see what good things there are. As he spoke, Linley's figure flashed as he appeared in front of the opened boxes, only to see 4 items lying there quietly. Chapter 890. This is... A thin golden piece of paper was placed in the gift box. It emitted an aura that made Lin Rei feel comfortable all over. Looking at it, the originally silent Chaos Sutra began to operate on its own. The speed was so fast that it was about to break through its previous speed. However, it didn't stop. The speed was still increasing rapidly as if there was no limit. It can't be. It can't be, ding. Discovered the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. Will the host accept it? Sure enough, the system's notification came. What the system said was the same as what Lin Rei thought. Yes, this was what he thought. The cultivation method he practiced was the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. He had cultivated the 4th level previously. If he wanted to break through to the Saint Realm, he needed the 5th level. Looking at this opportunity that could help him break through, Lin Rei smiled. Damn it, I didn't expect you to get such a good thing just for a gift box. Hee, but this is good too. I don't have to think of another way later. Saying that, Lin Rei came back to his senses and quickly replied, accept, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. However, due to the restriction of the cultivation method, the host can only break through the restriction to cultivate the 5th level after entering the Saint Realm. I got it. The system's notification disappeared. Lin Rei suppressed his excitement and looked at the other 3 items in the gift box. However, the remaining 3 items made Lin Rei less excited. Ding! Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Ding! Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Ding! Discovered a high-grade breakthrough pill. Will the host accept it? Hearing the system's notification, Lin Rei's eyes dimmed. However, it was better than nothing. Accept. Ding! All rewards have been placed in the system's storage box. Host, please check at any time. Ding! Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Yes. Without hesitation. Ding! Discovered Hongmeng elixir concoction manual. Host, would you like to learn it? Yes, practice. Ding! Okay, the system is being implanted. The required time is 30 days. 30 days? Listening to the system prompt, Lin Rei smiled and didn't pay too much attention to it. Being able to obtain these 3 cultivation methods was already very good. This was more than what he had seen before. Apart from when he had just obtained the system, the newbie gift pack back then was extremely good, such as the Primal Chaos Heavenly Scripture, Illusory Spirit Blood Fire, and so on. Forget it, what's the point of thinking so much? Let's see what's in the store first. Lin Rei shook his head violently and threw these thoughts to the back of his mind. Opening his eyes, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the shop in front of him. Looking at the upper-grade items that had changed, although they were not as good as the previous ones, in front of the dazzling lineup of upper-grade items here, Lin Rei could not help but click his tongue. This was because anything that could appear in this shop was the best in the world. 9 clouds cultivation method? At this moment, Lin Rei's gaze fell on a cultivation method. The words, 9 clouds cultivation method, were written on the cover of the book. The quality of the book made Lin Rei a little unfathomable, because under his powerful divine sense and mental strength, he could not see through it at all. Ding. 9 clouds cultivation method comes from outside the 9 clouds. The cultivator transforms his spiritual energy into the power of the 9 clouds. Each level is stronger than the previous, and each level is twice as strong as the previous level. Cultivating to the 6th level will split heaven and earth and become a star master. Cultivating to the 9th level will make one immortal. Star master? Power of the 9 clouds? Outside the 9 clouds? Hearing these unfamiliar names, Lin Rei's heart was filled with doubts and thoughts. He had only heard of the holy world and Hongmeng. Moreover, cultivating to the 6th level of the power of the 9 clouds would allow one to split heaven and earth, then. Great God Pangu, ding. Warning, the host's imagination has exceeded the tolerance range of your plane. Please stop immediately. What? My plane's tolerance range? The system's sudden warning caused Lin Rei's heart to tremble. If it was really as he thought, then, this world was going to get worse and worse. Originally, it was just a guess, but, the system's confession confirmed Lin Rei's thoughts. Thinking, Lin Rei's gaze once again fell on the 9 clouds cultivation method. Looking at him, Lin Rei nodded his head and decided, System, I'll buy the 9 clouds cultivation method. Ding. The first 6 levels of the 9 clouds cultivation method will cost the host 30 million exchange points. Does the host still want to buy it? Lin Rei, who was originally excited and determined, suddenly choked on his words and his face turned red. 30 million. This was the amount he had just obtained from the saints. Now, in order to buy the next level of the cultivation method, it was gone. This caused Lin Rei's heart to ache a little. He was a little sad, as if his heart was bleeding. Sighing, his hand clutched his chest. His face was sad, as if he had lost his child. Bye. Finally, the words bike came out of Lin Rei's mouth with difficulty. Ding. Purchase of the 9 clouds cultivation method successful. Cost the host 30 million exchange points and reputation. Ding. The host's account has spent 30 million. The current account balance is 0. Whoosh, hearing the notification that was like a heavy hammer smashing towards him, suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. 9 clouds? Looking up, he saw the brown cover of the 9 clouds cultivation method floating in the air in front of him. Sigh. It's because of you that my 30 million is gone just like that. But, thinking, Lin Rei felt that something was wrong. Wasn't there a total of 9 levels? Why now? Thinking, Lin Rei looked up at the sky and asked, Little Dragon, why is there only 6 levels of the cultivation method? What about the remaining 3? Ding. The host's account balance is not enough. Currently, the host can only buy 6 levels. As for the remaining 3 levels, the host needs more exchange points and reputation to exchange. What? It still needs money? Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei suddenly felt that he was cheated again. How much money do I need? Knowing that it would not be a small amount, Lin Rei still wanted to ask. Ding. The 7th level requires 90 million. The 8th level requires, stop. Don't say any more. I don't want to hear any more. Hearing the system's astronomical figures, Lin Rei quickly stopped. If he continued to listen, his heart would not be able to take it. Sigh, it seems that this time I've been cheated by the system again. Thinking about it, Lin Rei's heart was depressed and very unhappy. Ding. Would the host like to buy on credit? Of course, credit is not free. There will be interest. Every day, 1,000 exchange points. Lin Rei, hearing this, Lin Rei did not say anything. 1,000 interest per day. This is even more expensive than a loan shark. His gaze fixed on the 9 Clouds skill book in front of him. A trace of surprise flashed through his eyes. He then waved his hand and stored it away. Looking at the shop again, where the 9 Clouds skill book was originally, there was now another skill book. This skill book was emitting a blood-red light that made one's hair stand on end. Bloodlust skill? Ding! The bloodlust skill is a skill that comes from Lei Feng. It is a skill that can raise the user's cultivation by 2 levels in a short period of time. However, the price is that the user's life force, blood essence, and everything the user owns, including their family and friends, will all be robbed of their life force and their next life. Just like the eternal night curse, it will not disappear with the death of the user. It will continue to linger in the world until the debt is paid. Hiss! Hearing the system's introduction, Lin Rei could not help but take a step back. His face revealed a look of horror. This is too strange. You even have this kind of cultivation method. Even if this cultivation method was placed in front of him, he probably wouldn't cultivate it. After all, the price to pay for it was not only himself, but also his family and friends. No matter who it was, they would not be able to afford it. After all, it was not worth it to cultivate for something like this. Ding! It is recommended that the host purchase a cultivation tower to increase the strength of your disciple. At this time, the system spoke. Cultivation tower? What's that? Lin Rei was puzzled. Ding! Cultivation tower has a total of 9 levels. Each level will be divided according to the strength of the person who enters. The 9 levels of the cultivation tower are divided into different areas to increase the cultivator's strength. For example, perseverance, cultivation, spiritual energy purity, skills, battle techniques, footwork, spiritual energy, divine sense, etc. Moreover, the time in this tower is divided into 1001. A day here is 100 days inside, so it is definitely worth it. If you buy the cultivation tower, I guarantee that you will not lose out. At this moment, Lin Rei was silent. Although he kept saying that he was going to do the devil's training, he still had not thought of what he should do. Now that a cultivation tower suddenly appeared in front of him, it would be a lie to say that he was not tempted. However, before he acted impulsively, he first had to consider the price. Right now, he could be said to be poor. He did not have anything he wanted. How much is it? Not much. Not much? How much is not much? 16 million exchange points and reputation points only. 16 million isn't a lot. Why don't you go rob a bank instead? 16 million, to Lin Rei, was an astronomical figure. Previously, he had so many exchange points and reputation points because he killed saints. But now, he had nothing. If he wanted to save enough money to buy the cultivation tower, he was afraid that, even if he sold his kidney, it would not be enough. Although you have no money, but you can buy it on credit. As for the benefits, I'll give you a discount this time. 100 a day, how about that? Naked temptation, but the most helpless thing was that although he knew that there was a pit in front of him, he had to jump in, not for other reasons, but because he needed. Lin Rei needed the cultivation tower to raise his disciples' cultivation level. The system space fell into silence. No one spoke, and the system did not rush Lin Rei. It just waited quietly. 10 to 20 minutes passed. Lin Rei, who was in deep thought, a look of determination flashed across Lin Rei's eyes. Raising his head, he said resolutely, "Fine, I'll buy it." Damn it, when you have too many debts, you don't have to worry. When you die, you'll die. If you don't die, you'll live for thousands of years. Isn't it just 16 million? I don't care. Ding, okay, the system will now process the purchase procedures for you. 5 minutes later, Rhodes' eyes lit up. Ding, the host has successfully purchased the cultivation tower. It has been stored in the host system storage box, please check. Sigh. 16 million. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei's face was filled with helplessness. Ding. Due to the purchase of the cultivation pagoda, the host has put it on credit. Currently, the total balance is negative 32 million exchange points. You have to pay it back in 1,000 years. Otherwise, the system will automatically use the host's life force to pay it back. 30 million? Lin Rei, who was already depressed enough, suddenly heard that the purchase cost was twice as much as what he had heard. In an instant, only 3 words appeared in Lin Rei's mind. I've been tricked, ding. Yes, the host has purchased the cultivation pagoda for 16 million points and reputation points. Is there anything wrong? Ugh. And no. He wanted to refute, but after thinking about it carefully, there was no need to do so. Since it was a foregone conclusion, no matter how much he said, he would not be able to get the 32 million back. After thinking it through, Linley realized that he had already spent more than 60 million in just a short while. If he stayed any longer, who knew what the system would try to sell him again? Thinking about it, Lin Rei suddenly quivered and smiled, I'll be leaving first. After saying that, Lin Rei disappeared in a flash. However, in the outside world, Lin Rei, who had returned to his original body, opened his eyes. A light flashed in his pupils. Husband, you're awake. On the side, Bing, who had been hugging Lin Rei, felt her husband's aura and said in surprise. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was his wife. Moreover, he was in his wife's embrace. For a moment, Lin Rei had the urge to not get up. Of course, this thought only flashed through his mind. He quickly struggled to get up. Come, get up. We'll go back in a while. After saying that, he reached out and hugged Bing. Then, he turned around and said to everyone. Understood. At this moment, Little 5 and Little 2 had already woken up. Looking at them, it was obvious that they had completely recovered from their previous injuries. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei nodded in satisfaction. To be able to withstand the attack of a saint, they were also the strongest of the strongest. Although they were still a little weaker than him. Since you're awake, let's go. This time, I've prepared a lot of fun things for you. I guarantee that you'll have a great time. Looking at the 5 disciples, Lin Rei could not help but provoke them a few times. In an instant, when they heard Lin Rei's words, their faces fell. They had been trained by Lin Rei before. That level, thinking about it now, the 5 of them could not help but tremble. That level of training could be said to be extremely terrifying. Even though they were now god emperors and ultimate gods, but they could not help but feel a little afraid when they thought about it. Let's go. Ignoring the 5 of them at this moment, he said to everyone. Then, he pulled his 2 wives and stepped into the air. In response, when everyone saw Lin Rei's figure leaving, they quickly changed their cultivation and chased after him. Chapter 891. At the southern part of the mystic Yuan Mountain, the front gate of the Talisman Sect was currently in a state of silence. Even though they were a top sect, they were focused on the Tao of talismans. Other than when they were recruiting new disciples, the front gate was always empty. At this moment, 2 disciples were standing on both sides of the mountain gate. Their bodies were tall and straight and they had a very good temperament. Most importantly, the 2 disciples who were guarding the front gate had delicate features and were extremely handsome. If a person's appearance was 100 points, then these 2 disciples from the Talisman Sect did not have 85 points. Sigh. The few people who came a few days ago were simply too powerful. Before those people arrived, they had already seized the sect master's position. Moreover, they seemed to have sent out all the elites and outer and inner sect elders of the sect. That's right. The man shook his head repeatedly as he listened to the conversation between his companions. His face was filled with sadness. Who said otherwise? I wonder who those people are. Even the sect master and the Grand Supreme Elders are so afraid of them. They did not even retort before they directly gave up their positions. Sigh. Forget it. This matter has nothing to do with us. This is not something that disciples like us who are guarding the gate should know or understand. We should just do our job properly. At this moment, a group of people had naturally arrived in front of the two disciples as they were chatting. No one knew if it was because the two disciples were too engrossed in their conversation or because they walked without making any sound. At this moment, the leader of the group was a young man. His appearance could be said to be extremely handsome. His skin was so smooth that even women would be extremely jealous of it. However, the young man's expression did not match his appearance. He frowned slightly as he stared coldly at the young disciple who was guarding the gate. He then spoke in a deep voice. "You all, just now, you said that some people came to our sect and effortlessly made the sect master give up the position of sect master. Even the Grand Supreme Zhang Las doesn't dare to be impudent." His words were direct and straightforward. He didn't hide anything at all. "Huh. You are." The sudden voice shocked the two disciples. Especially when they saw the gloomy and slightly unhappy expression on the young man's face, the two disciples who were about to fly into a rage immediately stopped. The anger that they were about to unleash disappeared without a trace. Their tone instantly became weak. Tell me, wasn't what I said just now? Is the sect being taken over by someone else? Did the sect master abdicate of his own accord? Seeing how anxious the young man was, the two of them were taken aback. They hurriedly replied, "Yes, yes, yes." According to the news we heard, a group of people suddenly appeared some time ago. After they arrived, they directly asked for the position of sect master. Also, sect master and the others don't seem to dare to be presumptuous. They can only obediently stand aside and listen to orders. "Oh, is that so?" Hearing their words, the young man narrowed his eyes, and a glint flashed in his eyes. "System, let me ask you something. Say, now that the sect has been forcefully seized by someone else, can I make some adjustments to my mission? After all, the person who has seized the sect is a saint." At this moment, the young man in the lead was none other than Lin Rei, who had just returned from afar. Behind him were his wife, his apprentice, and the governor of Heavenly Cloud City, Lu Yuan, his daughter, Gu Tongfeng, and the others. Ding. No. Although the former sect master of the Talisman Grandmaster was forced to do so, this has nothing to do with your mission. Although the difficulty has increased, but what? Seeing the system hesitating, Lin Rei was puzzled. Although the difficulty has increased, but this might be a huge challenge for you. Also, after you succeed in the challenge, don't you feel that this achievement is something to be proud of? F***ck, the system's words made Lin Rei completely speechless. In the past, he only felt that the system was shameless. But now, Lin Rei's thoughts had changed. The system was not only shameless, but also extremely shameless. It had simply overturned Lin Rei's understanding of its shamelessness. Even so, Lin Rei had no other choice. After all, the system was too powerful. Moreover, even if he was the system's owner, he could not change the rules set by the system. Sigh. After letting out a long sigh, Lin Rei no longer held any hope. However, his previous thoughts had been completely disrupted. Originally, he could have easily become the sect master of the Talisman Grandmaster and completed his mission. But now, F***ck, all plans must be rushed. Heavens, are you playing with me? Unable to help himself, he let out a long howl. After he howled, the resentment in his heart instantly lessened. Not long after, peace was restored. Lin Rei returned to his usual calm state. "I'm going out first." After saying those words, Lin Rei turned around with the intention of leaving. However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, the system's notification sounded again. Ding, the host does not have to be so pessimistic. Emin? Seeing that the host is so pitiful, and the system's performance in the past was pretty good, so, the system has decided to slightly loosen the mission regarding the Talisman Grandmaster. Really? When he heard the system's words, Lin Rei lifted his head in confusion and looked at the sky with a questioning gaze. Although Lin Rei was inexplicably excited when he heard this news, Lin Rei could not help but feel a little scared when he thought about all the things that the system had done to him in the past. After all, every time the system did something to him, it was much more difficult than the mission. In fact, if he did not handle it well, his life might even be in danger. Cough cough, that, of course, the system has never lied. When the system met Lin Rei's gaze, it coughed twice and its voice was slightly weak. Yes, it has never lied because that person would have been killed by you before he could even be deceived by you. Of course, Lin Rei only muttered these words in his heart. In reality, he did not think this way at all. At this moment, Lin Rei laughed and said to the system, "Tell me, what's the matter? Can you loosen the mission a little?" The mission is still the same as before. However, the difference is that you can attack, but you cannot use any combat techniques or martial arts. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. Of course, there is another rule. You are not allowed to kill any disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster in the process of completing the mission. Otherwise, the mission will be loosened and the mission will continue as before. What do you think? At this moment, Lin Rei was overjoyed. He did not need to use his cultivation, martial arts, or combat techniques. To Lin Rei, none of these were important. Although these things were gone, he still had formations and talismans. By relying on these two things, Lin Rei was confident that he would be able to firmly obtain the position of the Sect Master of the Talisman Grandmaster. He was not boasting in the slightest. He was serious. Why? You don't agree? When Lin Rei hesitated, the system asked in confusion. Sigh. Fine. Since it has already come to this, this is the only way. As Lin Rei spoke, he had a reluctant expression on his face. Since that's the case, then I wish you to complete the mission quickly. Thank you for your kind words. Now that he had achieved his goal, there was no point in continuing to stay here. With a thought, he exited the space. After returning to his body, a devilish smile appeared at the corner of Lin Rei's mouth. In response, Ying, Bing, Lin Wanyu, and the others at the side all took a step back. Feeling the same, Lin Rei turned around with a puzzled expression. What's wrong with all of you? No, nothing. That's right. Nothing. Ying and Bing regained their senses and quickly interrupted and successfully changed the topic. That, after returning to the Talisman Grandmaster, you still haven't brought us to your residence to take a look? That's right. Husband, why don't we hurry up and leave? Bing is almost exhausted. As Bing spoke, she symbolically staggered and almost fell down. Lin Rei, the corner of Linley's mouth twitched when he saw Bing's reaction. How could Linley believe in this kind of scam that could be considered a flaw? Moreover, in terms of Bing's cultivation, a peak ultimate god cultivator actually said that she was too tired. This sentence would probably bring about a sea of supercilious looks. Let's go. In the end, the beautiful Lin Rei retorted. He nodded at the two gatekeepers and said, "This is for you. You can stand guard now." As he spoke, he directly threw a bottle of low-grade elixirs to the two gatekeepers. Then, he led the group into the Talisman Grandmaster's mountain gate and rushed towards his residence. In the residence, a woman was sitting on a small bridge with her delicate feet in the water. She had a complaining look on her face as if something had made her unhappy. Damned Lin Rei. He has been out for so long. Why didn't he send me a message? Damned Lin Rei. Why didn't he send me a message? Do I really make you so fearful and cautious? Damned Lin Rei. Just you wait. When you come back, when I see you, I will beat you into a pulp. Otherwise, my name is not Su Ziqing. As she complained, she continued to play with the water. Although there was still a look of annoyance on her face, it gradually disappeared as she played with the water. Instead, it slowly turned into a smile and clear laughter. Achoo! A sneeze came from Lin Rei's mouth. For a moment, Lin Rei, who was flying in the air, was puzzled. For Lin Rei, it was impossible for him to catch a cold. As long as he gradually got used to it, not to mention catching a cold, even cancer would not appear in his life. However, he sneezed for no reason. Lin Rei frowned at this. In his opinion, a sneeze could be an ominous sign. "Are you all right, husband?" Beside him, Ying quickly went up to him and asked after hearing Lin Rei's reaction. "I'm fine. Don't worry." As he spoke, he gave her a reassuring look. Then, he looked at the courtyard in front of him. Lin Rei couldn't help but smile. "We're here. We're here." Hearing this, everyone's spirits rose. They looked up, but when they followed Lin Rei's gaze, they were stunned. At this moment, what they saw was not the palace they had imagined, nor was it a pavilion. It was just a small courtyard. Master, are you sure this is your temporary residence?" Looking at the courtyard, Lin Wanyu asked with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yes, master." "Are you sure it's here?" Even Alienation, who had never liked to talk, spoke up. However, her mouth was still as mean as before. "Although it looks the same, compared to your status, refining is a piece of cake." Even what? Seeing his second disciple like this, Lin Rei was startled and asked. "Sigh, so be it." At that moment, Alienation had no choice but to say it. Since that was the case, she might as well fight to the death. Thinking of this, Alienation braced herself and spoke. "This place is so different from the place you used to live. It doesn't even have a storeroom. I think the Talisman Sect is too despicable to let an ultimate god expert live in such an unsightly place. If Senior Xia Feng knew about this, I'm afraid, this place would have turned into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood." Demonic Phoenix? Hearing his second disciple say this name, for a moment, Linley almost missed her. "I wonder what he's doing now. Husband? Husband, are we here?" At that moment, Ying's voice was heard from outside just as Lin Rei was thinking about Xia Feng. "We're here?" He snapped back to reality, opened his eyes, and looked down. He saw that they had unknowingly arrived at the sky above his residence. Who's that?" At this moment, the sharp-eyed Bing looked down. His gaze landed on a girl in white sitting on a small bridge within the courtyard. She seemed to be having a great time at this moment. However, Bing's words stunned Lin Rei. He looked down and saw the lady on the small bridge. Lin Rei was stunned. "Damn it, who is this? Why is she in my house? How did she get in?" Questions popped up in Lin Rei's mind one after another and he filtered them all out. Perhaps it was because she was being watched by too many people. The quick-witted woman hurriedly stood up and raised her head to look. When she did, her gaze froze, and a thought flashed through her mind. Her legs parted, and she leapt into the air, moving quickly in Linley's direction. How dare these emperor gods act so presumptuously in front of my master? Do you think I'm useless? At that moment, Lin Xianyuan, who was standing behind Lin Rei, saw that someone was about to launch a sneak attack. He looked at them in disdain and disappeared in a flash. What? Although she was surprised, this was not the time for her to be surprised. After all, the other party had disappeared. She released her divine sense and the scene in the courtyard appeared in her mind. "Little girl, don't be so arrogant in front of my master. Although you're a girl, but," at that moment, Lin Xianyuan, who had disappeared, appeared behind the girl. He reached out and grabbed the girl's shoulder. A glint of spiritual energy entered the girl's body and sealed her cultivation. Whoosh! After doing all this, Lin Xianyuan smiled. Then, in a flash, he appeared in front of Linley. He didn't let go of his hand. When one's cultivation was sealed, it was equivalent to having no cultivation at all. He was no different from an ordinary person. Linley, you bastard, you didn't even call me when you went out. Do you know that I've been watching over your house for you for so long that I've almost gone crazy? Chapter 892. You are. Lin Ray was stunned when he saw the girl brought back by his third brother. He looked at the girl's slightly familiar face, but he didn't dare to recognize her. Su Ziqing, the person who gave Lin Ray a headache. She was dressed as a man when she left, but now, as the saying goes, a day apart feels like 3 months. How did a man become a woman in such a short time? If Lin Ray didn't know that this wasn't Planet Aqua Blue, where there was no such thing as plastic surgery, Lin Ray would probably think that way. Miss, do you know my husband? And me? Huh, are you joking or are you dressed up as a woman? Ying looked at Su Ziqing with displeasure, and he stepped forward to ask. Yes. Miss, you must be confused. Ice couldn't fall behind, and Shadow chimed in. Husband? Staring at the two women who had suddenly appeared, both of whom were not the slightest bit inferior to her in terms of looks. In fact, they were even a bit more beautiful than her, but they actually called Linley husband. Instantly, a hint of sadness flashed through her heart. Maybe it was because she hid it too well, but no one noticed it. Maybe even Su Ziqing didn't understand it. You are Su Ziqing? At this moment, Linley interrupted their conversation and hurriedly asked. After repeated confirmations, Linley finally believed that the person in front of him was Su Ziqing, who had been left behind when he had left. Looking at her now, Lin Ray smiled bitterly. Damn it, I've finally untied the knot in my heart. I thought I was gay, but I didn't expect Su Ziqing to be a woman. The more he thought about it, the more Lin Ray laughed at himself. The haze in his heart was swept away. Little 3, let her go. What? Master, she. Lin Xianyuan let out a cry of surprise. It's okay. Lin Ray turned around and looked at his third disciple. He gave him a reassuring smile and said, Don't worry. Don't we still have you and everyone? Besides. As he spoke, he looked at the slightly embarrassed Su Ziqing and chuckled. With her current state, do you think she still has the heart to fight back? Lin Xianyuan was in a difficult position. He looked at the two ladies beside him, wanting to ask for their opinions. Let go. Your master's ability isn't something a mere god emperor can overturn. Don't worry. That's right, let go. He's just a mere god emperor. Understanding the meaning of Lin Xuanyuan's message, the two of them hurriedly tried to dissuade him, but they were talking through telepathy, and no one else could hear them. If Su Ziqing had heard their conversation just now, she would have been depressed to death. After all, a god emperor had become a puny god emperor from their mouths. Whether it was Su Ziqing or any other god emperor who heard this, they would probably want to die. All right. With everyone's agreement, Lin Xianyuan nodded and agreed. He took a step forward and stood in front of Su Ziqing. He raised his hand and patted her on the head. Humph. Su Ziqing snorted angrily at Lin Xuanyuan's actions and didn't say anything else. Release. With one word, the energy that had sealed Su Ziqing's cultivation disappeared instantly. The sealed cultivation surged into all the meridians in her body like a tide. Phew, with her cultivation unsealed, the familiar feeling returned. Su Ziqing couldn't help but let out a long sigh. However, she had been too angry to notice that something was wrong. The people who followed Lin Ray after he was born, the two beauties who claimed to be Lin Ray's wives, and, as she thought about it, her eyes fell on Lin Xianyuan, and a look of shock appeared in her eyes. Su Ziqing couldn't think of anyone else who could stop her with one move other than a god emperor. Of course, it wasn't impossible for a saint to be here, but why would a saint appear here? Moreover, with her status, which saint would dare to attack her? Moreover, she knew almost all the saints in the Talisman Sect. Therefore, the only person who could make Su Ziqing think of was a god emperor. However, a God Emperor cultivator calling a God Emperor cultivator master, how could she believe it? Even the others would find it hard to believe. I didn't expect you to be a woman. I'm really sorry that I thought you were a man, Brother Su. Su, your name, Oh, the name is real. Su Ziqing quickly replied when she came back to her senses and heard Lin Rei's question. Oh, that's good. Hearing that the name was real, Lin Li smiled slightly. Immediately he bowed and apologized. Previously, I always mistook Miss Su for a man, it was really inappropriate. I apologize here, please don't blame me. It's okay, it's my fault. The elders in my family asked me to come here, so, Lin Rei nodded to get used to it. Master, let's go in. Lin Wanyu couldn't help laughing when she saw the two of them talking endlessly. She came to Lin Rei's side and held Lin Rei's arm, acting like a spoiled child. Seeing his disciple like this, Lin Rei lovingly stroked her hair and nodded with a smile, okay. Then, he looked at the people behind him and said, let's go in. It's tiring to rush all the way here. As he spoke, Lin Li took a step forward. His arm was held by Lin Wanyu, and he led everyone to the lounge. The living room wasn't very big, but it was big enough to accommodate all the people they brought back. Lin Rei sat down at the head of the table. He didn't have the aura of a god cultivator at all. Right now, Lin Li was just like Guyu, slumped in his chair, looking at everyone with a tired face. Husband, are you tired? Ying quickly stepped forward. Seeing her husband like this, her heart ached inexplicably. She put her hands on Lin Rei's shoulders and gently massaged them. As for Bing, seeing Ying like this, he retreated. Some were so quiet that no one noticed. Of course, although Lin Rei was a little lazy, he still noticed it. However, he didn't care. Since they were back and at home, it was normal for them to familiarize themselves with each other. Moreover, Lin Rei didn't care about Bing's safety at all. It wasn't because he didn't like Bing, but because of Bing's cultivation. Unless a saint appeared, no one in the heavenly realm could stop him. The living room quieted down. Except for Ying, everyone sat down and looked at Lin Rei, waiting for the next step or preparation. Lin Rei opened his mouth. Looking at Su Ziqing who was sitting at the head of the table, Lin Rei slowly said, Miss Su, you see. I have something to say to my disciples, you see, go ahead, I won't disturb you. I'll just sit here and you can talk. Su Ziqing knew what Lin Rei meant, but she didn't care at all. Everyone in the hall was stunned by Su Ziqing's actions, and their faces were filled with shock. Obviously, this was something they didn't expect. However, to Lin Rei, it wasn't strange at all. After all, Lin Rei had seen Su Ziqing's roguish side before. Looking at Su Ziqing, Lin Rei's tone stiffened. He repeated, Miss Su, I want to talk to my disciples. Don't you want to leave for a while? I said, you can talk. I won't disturb you. Seeing that Su Ziqing was still acting like this, Lin Rei lost his patience. It was fine before, but now, this woman was asking the obvious. Lin Rei didn't like this kind of woman. His gaze turned cold and his aura became stern. Miss Su, I said that I have something important to discuss with my disciples. Since Miss Su doesn't want to leave, then, don't blame me for being rude. What do you want? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Su Ziqing was stunned. Her heart trembled and she subconsciously wanted to retreat. Ignoring Su Ziqing, Lin Rei turned to Little 3, Lin Xianyuan, and said, Little 3, I'll leave it to you. Do as you see fit. Get her wherever you want. It's best if she doesn't appear in front of me. Yes, master. I'll do it right away. Hearing this, Lin Xianyuan, who couldn't take it anymore, nodded. Lin Rei, you bastard. How can you do this? At this moment, Su Ziqing was unwilling. What did this mean? Didn't he want to see her? Was he really that annoying? At this moment, Su Ziqing felt more wronged the more she thought about it. She couldn't help but tear up. Ha! Cry. It doesn't work on me. Lin Rei didn't care whether Su Ziqing cried or not. You, seal. Just as Su Ziqing was about to refute Lin Rei, she heard a familiar voice. Suddenly, her vision turned black and her body went limp. Su Ziqing lost consciousness. Of course, what she lost was not only her consciousness, but also her cultivation. Go, send her away. When you reach the place, refine her and wake her up. Release her seal. Tell her clearly that she can do it once or twice, but not thrice. I don't have that much patience. Looking at little 3, Lin Rei instructed. Remember, you have to tell her exactly what I said. Go. Then, Lin Rei waved his hand and asked little 3 to take Su Ziqing away. Yes, I understand. He clasped his hands and bowed. Then, he carried Su Ziqing on his shoulder. A smile appeared on his face as he left the hall. Circulating his cultivation, he shot up into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. Phew. Io, finally some peace and quiet. Seeing Su Ziqing's figure disappear, Lin Rei's face revealed a smile. Hee, I thought you liked it. At this time, Ying teased. If you like it, I don't mind. Turning around, he looked at Ying with a look of displeasure. It's not hard to say this in the future. Otherwise. As he spoke, his gaze fell on her perky bottom. If I hear you say this again, be careful of your husband's punishment. You. Seeing her husband's gaze, a blush crept up Ying's cheeks. Her heart tightened and she quickly shut her mouth. That's for your nonsense. Smiling, Lin Rei turned around and his gaze turned serious. Looking at the disciples below, Lin Rei said, Boys, this time, your mission is very difficult. Within 100 years, you have to break through to the Supreme God realm. So, a smile appeared on his face as he continued, if you can complete it within the time I set, then I will consider teaching you a new cultivation technique. Let me make it clear in advance. This new cultivation technique is very, very, very powerful. It's much more powerful than the one you're practicing. Whap! As soon as Lin Li's words came out, Lin Wanyu rose to her feet, clasped her hands, and bowed. Master, don't worry. 100 years, in less than 100 years, your disciple will definitely break through to the divine exalt level. Yes, Master. We will wait for you. Lin Wanyu became the leader. As soon as she stood up, the others took the initiative. Little 2, little 4, and little 5 all stood up abnormally. Not bad. It's good that you are confident. For this reason, in order to help you make breakthroughs faster, Master has found an item for you. With this item, I trust that you will be able to make breakthroughs even faster. However, as he spoke, Lin Li paused slightly. But what? Master, please tell us. Seeing their master gasping for breath, Lin Wanyu and the others asked in unison. He raised his head and looked at his 4 disciples. A smile appeared on his face as he said, You also know that if you want to break through, it is impossible to break through without a little bit of danger, so, although the thing I have given you can help you break through faster, the only difference is that danger and opportunity exist together. If you want to break through, danger is unavoidable. Hearing this, Lin Wanyu and the others were speechless. The 4 of them fell into deep thought. But in the process of thinking, their hesitation became more and more resolute. After a few minutes, the 4 of them raised their heads and looked firmly into Lin Rei's eyes. At this moment, Lin Rei had an answer in his heart. At the same time, he felt proud of their decision. Tell me your choice. Lin Rei knew their choice, but he still couldn't help but want to hear it with his own ears. Plop. The 4 of them directly knelt on the ground. Their voices were very resolute. Master, don't worry. We are not flowers in a greenhouse. Just bring it on. We are brothers and sisters. We are not afraid. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Lin Rei laughed. He was very happy. His originally lazy state disappeared in an instant. He sat up straight with a gratified expression. Good. As expected of my disciples, Lin Rei. Since you have decided, then, as he spoke, he took out the cultivation pagoda from the storage box and threw it towards the four of them. This is the cultivation pagoda. You can explore it yourself. Remember, there are dangers and opportunities. I hope you can persevere. Yes, Master. We will obey. The four of them cupped their hands. Lin Wanyu reached out and caught the cultivation pagoda. At this moment, the four of them didn't have any other thoughts. The four of them surrounded the pagoda and began to explore. However, at this moment, the four of them didn't notice that Lin Xuanyuan's eyes were filled with envy. Little three, if you want to go, you can. The top of that thing is a sage, so, really? Master. Lin Xianyuan, who was originally a little disappointed, was instantly filled with excitement. Not bad. But before you enter the cultivation pagoda, you should first practice with me. This will be more beneficial for your growth. Chapter 893. Yes, your disciple obeys. Lin Xuanyuan's heart was filled with excitement. At the same time, he also felt the inadequacy of his current cultivation technique. Before he broke through to the ultimate god realm, it could be said that his cultivation technique was very good. Of course, that was only for him. However, after he broke through to the ultimate god realm, the inadequacies of his cultivation technique were gradually revealed. His cultivation speed also gradually decreased, so much so that the circulatory cycle had become something he was worried about. Okay. He nodded and then looked away from Lin Xianyuan to Gu Tongfeng and the other two. Looking at them, Lin Rei thought about it again and finally made up his mind. Lu Yuan, the three of you can stay here. As for your matters, you can do as you see fit. As for the things you need, you can ask me for them. Elixirs, weapons, but the premise is that you have to provide the materials. After all, I don't have a lot of things. Thank you, Lin Rei. If we need anything, we won't hesitate to ask. The three of them quickly got up and nodded respectfully. They were very respectful to Lin Rei, the mysterious Lin Rei. The previous scene had made the three of them realize how powerful and terrifying the person in front of them was. Okay. If that's the case. Husband. Suddenly, Bing, who had left earlier, walked in with a fruit plate and a cup of tea in her hand. She walked gracefully to Lin Rei's side. Looking at the things in his wife's hand, Lin Rei felt warmth in his heart and asked, You went to get these? Yes. With a soft thud, Bing put the plate in her hand on the table. Her face was as shy as a young girl, and her voice was so low that it was almost inaudible. Husband, this is some tea and some rare fruits that I've collected during this period of time. I'm sure they're delicious, so, as she spoke, she picked up the teacup and handed it to Lin Rei for him to taste. Everyone in the room could not bear to watch this scene. As the saying goes, those who show off their love die quickly. This was clearly the rhythm of making them eat dog food. For a moment, Lin Wanyu and the others understood. After seeing this scene, they obediently signaled to their junior brothers and sisters beside them. Then, they turned around and said, Master, that. We will go down and study first. You go ahead. Hearing this, Lin Rei was stunned. Just as he was about to speak, he realized that his 5 disciples had already disappeared without a trace. Looking at the empty space in front of him, Lin Rei couldn't help but chuckle and shake his head. Well, fellow Taoist Lin Rei, we'll be taking our leave first. Since it's my first time in the Talisman Sect, I'm truly despicable. I'll seize this opportunity to take a look around. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan stood up and cupped his hands. Seeing them leave one by one, Lin Rei stared blankly for a moment. Then, he knew what they were here for. He nodded and said, "Okay, then, the three of you can go. Take advantage of this time to familiarize yourselves. After all, you will be staying here for a while. Father, let's go. Accompany father for a walk." Hearing his daughter's words, Lu Yuan hurriedly stopped her before she could finish her words. "Okay." Snowy didn't dare to refute her father's words. In the end, she could only nod and turn her head to look at Lin Rei reluctantly. Then, she followed Lu Yuan out of the hall. "Hee, husband, don't you feel that Snowy seems to be, Pa?" A crisp sound was heard, echoing throughout the hall. "Humph, I told you before. I didn't expect you to be so forgetful." At this moment, Lin Rei's expression was slightly angry. "Ah. You." Looking at her husband, a pain came from her buttocks. Ying's fair and delicate face instantly flushed red as if she had put on makeup. He, a crisp laughter came from Bing's mouth. She looked at the scene with a smile on her face. This was a scene that the three of them had been looking forward to for a long time. However, they had been in a state of cultivation previously, so they basically didn't have time to stay together. It had been a long time since the three of them talked and laughed together like this. At this moment, looking at Bing's face, Ying blushed and said with bad intentions, "Bing, you're still laughing. Be careful that husband doesn't." At this moment, looking at Bing's face, Ying blushed and looked at her with bad intentions. As she spoke, she couldn't help but scan Bing's body from head to toe. Feeling Ying's bad intentions, Bing was stunned. Then, she blushed and stammered nervously. She nervously put the teacup in her hand on the table. That, husband, I'll go and familiarize myself with the situation first. You can chat with Sister Ying, Saying that, without waiting for Lin Rei to speak, she flashed to the entrance of the hall. However, just as Bing was about to leave the hall, she suddenly stopped and turned around with a mischievous smile. "Husband, you have to have a good chat with Sister Ying, She's really looking forward to it." After saying that, she turned around and walked out of the hall, leaving Lin Rei and Ying's range of time. This damn girl. At this moment, Ying reacted. Looking at the door where Bing left, she stomped her feet angrily and complained. "This girl, it seems like she's learned bad things after not seeing her for a while." Looking at his wife leaving, Lin Rei shook his head with a wry smile. Picking up the teacup beside him, he took a sip and a look of enjoyment appeared on his face. Sigh. This kind of life, after all, doesn't belong to us now. Looking at the teacup in his hand and feeling the aura pressing on his shoulder, he sighed in his heart. "Actually, husband, you can take a rest. After all, the world is boundless. As long as you do your best, it's fine. There's no need to tire yourself out. Really, husband." Feeling her husband's sigh, Ying's heart trembled. She leaned over and hugged Lin Rei's neck from behind. "That's right. The world is vast and boundless. As long as you do your best, it's fine. However..." Suddenly, she smiled bitterly. If it were an ordinary cultivator, perhaps they could think like that. It was understandable for them to live in seclusion and avoid the world. However, he was different. He could not avoid the world and not cultivate. The system would not allow him to do so. Moreover, his life would not allow him to do so. After all, the system was a wolf that was chasing him. As long as he stopped for a moment, he would fall into eternal damnation. At that time, not to mention living in seclusion, it would probably become an extravagant hope and demand for him. Sigh. Letting out a long sigh, a bitter smile appeared on his face. He placed the teacup on the table and held his wife's hand. The nervousness and urgency in his heart were instantly relieved. He relaxed and lay in Ying's arms and fell asleep. Perhaps it was because he was too tired. Perhaps it was because he was too tense during this period of time. In short, everything was no longer important. The most important thing was that he was very relaxed at this moment. He was not afraid that others would come and find trouble with him. At this moment, in the Talisman Sect Master's Hall, a woman in splendid clothes sat on the Sect Master's seat. She looked at the 3 old men and 2 young men below her with slight anger. Her heart was filled with grievances. At this moment, a man in a red robe said, "Young miss, we just received news that 2 of the large sects and clans that came down from the Holy World seem to have been destroyed. However, Xingyu from the Heavenly Court escaped out of curiosity. This matter might be too big. Therefore, I feel that there is a need to discuss this matter with you and see how we should deal with this matter." "That's right, young miss. This matter is too serious. The divine realm actually has the strength to destroy the people from the Holy World. How can we use this strength?" Then, at this moment, the handsome young man at the side hurriedly agreed with the old man. This matter, looking at the 5 people below, the woman's expression was extremely solemn. She lowered her head and sank into deep thought. "Young miss, do you think we should save that bastard Xingyu? After all, they are all from the Holy World. Moreover, they are from the Heavenly Court. I feel that there is a need to save them. What do you think?" At this moment, another black-clothed old man spoke. Sigh. Hearing the 3 people's report, the woman let out a long sigh. She looked exhausted. Lifting her head, she looked at everyone and said, "Everyone, I'll leave this matter to you. As for that strength, if possible, try to rope them in. After all, I believe that even Father would be very tempted by this strength to fight against the people from the Holy World in the Divine Realm and kill saints." "Okay." Hearing the woman's words, the 5 people present nodded in agreement with smiles on their faces. "Ziqing, have you gotten used to living in the Anyuan courtyard during this period of time? If you don't like it, I can arrange a bigger place for you. After all, the place you live in the Holy World is much bigger than that place." "Yeah. If the sect master finds out about this, I'm afraid we won't be able to avoid being ostracized when we return." Hearing the 5 people's words, the woman was speechless. If Lin Rei was here, he would be very surprised to see the woman sitting in the seat of honor. Because the person sitting in the seat of honor was none other than Su Ziqing, who was thrown 10,000 meters away by Lin Xianyuan. Looking at the 5 people's nervous faces, Su Ziqing smiled and said, "That. You don't have to worry about this matter. You should pay more attention to that matter. As for me, I'll walk around here first. When there's a situation, you can use the rune to agree to my request." Saying that, Su Ziqing got up and was about to leave. "Oh, by the way, don't go to the Anyuan courtyard when you have nothing to do. I don't want people to know that I'm from the Holy World. Of course, I believe that you can do it, right?" Saying that, a horrifying face made the 5 people stand aside and nod with bitter smiles. "Okay." Everyone nodded and bowed. "Okay, then. Thank you for your hard work. I'll take my leave first." After saying that, she used her cultivation and disappeared in a flash. Phew. She's finally gone. Feeling that Su Ziqing's aura was far away from the hall, the 5 people relaxed. Sigh. This young lady? Can't help it. Forget it. It's not the first time that the young lady has such a temper. But. Saying that, he looked at the young man beside him and said, "Shaoan, although the young lady said that you don't need to follow her, her safety is the most important thing in the sect. So, follow her. No matter what happens, you must protect the young lady. Remember, you must protect the young lady's safety. But don't appear when the young lady is not in danger. After all, the young lady doesn't want anyone to follow her." Hearing this task, the young man's face fell and he smiled bitterly. But he couldn't go against it. In the end, he could only nod and agree. "Okay, in that case. Leave this task to me." "That's good." The problem was solved, and the 5 people relaxed and smiled. However, at this moment, in the guest hall of the Anyuan courtyard, the sky outside had turned dark. The bright moonlight rose into the sky, and the night wind was always cold. Phew. At this moment, in the hall, Lin Rei and Ning were still in the same state as before. The only difference was that Lin Rei had woken up. He let out a long breath and his closed eyes slowly opened. His face was indescribably relaxed, and the tiredness from before had disappeared without a trace. "You're awake." Seeing that her husband had woken up, Ing, who had been holding Lin Rei, smiled and said softly, "You really can sleep. You slept for half a day. Are you comfortable now?" Haha. Opening his eyes, Lin Rei looked at his wife who was holding him. His heart sank and he felt a little guilty. "Are you tired?" Saying that, Lin Rei quickly straightened his body from Ying's body and grabbed her waist. With a push of his arm, Ying's body left the ground, turned in the air, and finally landed in Lin Rei's arms in a perfect posture. "You worked hard just now. Since you massaged my shoulders, now is the time to repay you." Looking at Ing, Lin Rei opened his mouth and said. His hands were already on Ying's left leg. Gently, without using any strength, Lin Li began to massage his wife's legs. "That. Husband, this is not good. How can a husband massage his wife? Don't talk." Without waiting for Ing to finish, Lin Rei said, "Your husband doesn't have much time to accompany you. After this massage, I don't know how long I have to wait. So, don't talk, just quietly enjoy it." Instantly, hearing this, Ing sensibly shut up because she knew that this kind of time was not easy to come by. "So, kid, have you thought about it? Do you want to use the breakthrough pill to improve the realm of the formation?" At this moment, the little dragon's voice appeared in Lin Rei's mind. "Yes." While massaging his wife's leg, Lin Rei conversed with the little dragon. Multitasking was a piece of cake for him. "I can't use force or battle techniques, so the only thing I can use now is my own talisman Dao and formation Dao. However, with my current realm, these two Daos are a little difficult to defeat a saint, but," thinking about this, Lin Rei's face suddenly became excited. "But if I can break through one of these two Daos and break into the saint realm, then the result will be different. With the combination of these two Daos, I believe that it will be easy to trap a Dao fruit saint and even kill him." Hearing this, the little dragon chuckled and nodded. "Yes, as long as I break through one of them, I can defeat a saint and complete the mission." Chapter 894. But, at this moment, the little dragon's expression turned solemn. "You know that the effects of the breakthrough pill are very precious to you now. Are you sure you want to use it here?" Xiaolong hesitated for a moment. He didn't immediately answer Xiaolong's question. Instead, he began to ponder. Thinking back to the events of the past and the punishment he would receive if he didn't complete the mission, Lin Li became even more certain of his previous decision. Thinking of this, Lin Rei's expression became very determined. "I've thought about it, oh? Tell me your answer. Are you sure you want to continue with your previous decision?" Lin Rei asked. Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei's face was filled with determination. He said, "I'm very sure. Although the breakthrough pill is very rare, but the only condition to complete the mission is to break through the array formation. If you can't break through the array formation and you can't use martial arts, battle techniques, or spells, you say. If you don't complete the mission, rather than being executed by the system, you might as well follow your own ideas. You say. Yes." At this moment, hearing Lin Rei's words, the little dragon fell into silence and didn't say anything else. Also, Lin Rei will become stronger when facing a strong opponent. How can I back down when facing a problem? That's not my style and it's not my personality. So, I've decided. I've already decided to use the breakthrough pill to break through the realm of alchemy. No one can stop me. Even you, little dragon, can't stop my decision. Please believe in me. Believe in me. I can complete my mission. Believe that I can succeed." The little dragon was speechless. Sigh. Knowing Lin Rei's determined mood and determination, the little dragon let out a long sigh and sighed emotionally. It seems like you've really grown up and don't need me anymore. Huh. That's not necessarily true. Lin Rei smiled guiltily at the little dragon's words. If he really didn't need the little dragon, Lin Rei couldn't do it. After all, the world was unpredictable and the situation was ever-changing. Who knew what would happen in the future? Sigh, all right, do as you see fit. I'll go first. Don't look for me if there's nothing. Don't look for me even if there's something? Seeing the system disappear, Linley was stunned. His face was blank. Forget it. As he spoke, Lin Rei came back to his senses and looked at his wife in front of him. Suddenly, Lin Rei's eyes flashed with guilt. I won't be able to accompany you during this period of time again. Your husband has something important to prepare for this period of time, so, it's okay. We're already used to it. As long as you're safe, we'll be at ease. Hearing his wife's words, Lin Rei could feel Ying's body trembling. Lin Rei knew that although Ying said that, in her heart, she really hoped that he could accompany her. As he thought about it, Lin Rei's expression became proud. He also wanted to be by his wife's side, but time didn't allow for it. He didn't have much time left. After giving birth, the system urged him. He couldn't let himself die under the system's punishment, so he had to work harder. Only then could he be by his wife's side. I'm sorry. It's okay, husband. Hearing Lin Rei's apology, Ying's heart trembled. She smiled and said, just do what you need to do. You just have to remember that Bing and I will always support you no matter what. Everything else is not important. I know. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't say anything. He just quietly enjoyed this moment. After all, there wasn't much time left. Next, he had to go into seclusion to break through the Array realm. Even he himself wasn't sure how long it would take to break through, so, in the southern part of the 9 states, the Butterfly Valley was a mystic realm. It could be said that it was a treasure trove. It could be said that spiritual herbs were everywhere. However, for some reason, not long ago, the spiritual herbs began to slowly dry up. At first, it was just a little, and it didn't attract the attention of anyone. However, as time passed, the spiritual herbs began to die on a large scale. For the sects that had been looking for spiritual herbs here, they felt that something was wrong. They reported to the sects and went to the Butterfly Valley to inspect, but in the end, they didn't find anything. It could be said that no one who went in came out safely. The people who went in ended up disappearing. At first, everyone thought that it was just a coincidence. However, as more and more people went in, not a single person came out. Everyone knew that it wasn't a coincidence. Just like that, the heavenly abode that had once produced precious materials had become a man-eating, demonic land. It was a forbidden area. However, good things come with setbacks, and bad things spread far and wide. Originally, the sects had tried to keep the matter under wraps. However, for some reason, news of the Butterfly Valley spread throughout the 9th state. Groups of youths, disciples from various sects, as well as swindlers who pretended to be cultivators to make a living, came to the Butterfly Valley. They wanted to go in and see what was going on. However, unfortunately, the people who went in were the same as the people who had gone in before. They never came out. Everyone was very cautious about this. However, on this day, a handsome young man with a jade flute in his hand arrived in front of Butterfly Valley. He looked at this place that was called a forbidden area. When he saw this place, he raised his eyebrows and a bright light appeared on his face. Heh. So, this is the Butterfly Valley? He murmured to himself as he looked at the entrance. That's right. This is the Butterfly Valley. A middle-aged man walked out from the side, his expression one of confirmation. Is that so? The young man didn't look back. Instead, his gaze grew more intense. He took a step forward, and a look of anticipation appeared on his face as he walked into the valley. As soon as he entered, a thick fog enveloped him. Everything was white, and he couldn't see anything. The only thing he could see was the fog. You bunch of ungrateful things. My father-in-law took such good care of you when he was alive. But now, you won't even let an orphan and a widow off. How can you face my father-in-law? Wang Yuro glared at the group of people in front of her with bloodshot eyes. As for Lin Rei, he looked just like he always did, staring blankly at everything. Humph, Wang Yuro, you still have the nerve to mention that dead man. Although I am indebted to him, this is the king's will. Do you think I will offend the king for a dead man? Ha ha ha. That's right. This is all permitted by the king. Besides, you are just a widow. Why are you saying so much? If it were up to me, you might as well follow me. Although I can't take you as my concubine, you can still live a good life if you follow me. At this moment, a man stared at Wang Yuro's body with a wretched expression on his face. His eyes were filled with lust, and his eyes were filled with a desire to possess her. Ha ha ha, everyone stood up when they heard this. Only the leader of the group didn't laugh. Madam, I don't want anything. I am different from them. I just want to obtain Duke Lin's cultivation method. As long as you can give it to me, I can guarantee the safety of you and your child. What do you think? Humph. Do you think I can believe your words? Hearing the man's words, Wang Yuro's eyes revealed a playful expression. She looked at the man and said, "What if I give it to you and you go back on your word? What should we do then?" Humph. You really don't want to do it the hard way. Brother, don't even think about it. I want to see how hard this woman's mouth is. After saying that, a middle-aged man rubbed his hands and licked his lips. The lust in his eyes was exposed. Oh, although you're already over 40 years old, it's undeniable that you're really beautiful. Sigh, it's just that brat took advantage of you. You're a cabbage, but don't worry, I won't mind. After he finished speaking, the man's body flashed and appeared beside Wang Yuro. He grabbed Wang Yuro into his arms and began to harbor evil intentions. Beast. Let go of me. You beast. Whoa, how could a weak woman without any martial arts be a match for a man with martial arts cultivation? In an instant, the middle-aged man subdued Wang Yuro and pressed her to the ground. The group of people stood there with smiles on their faces, as if they were waiting to watch a good show. What no one noticed was that Linley, who had been staring blankly into space, suddenly revealed a strange smile. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for breaking free from the 100 reincarnations environment. However, you have not truly broken free. As long as you go through 100 reincarnations, then the 100 reincarnations illusion will naturally be broken. Oh, you mean this is my first reincarnation? I still have to go through 99 reincarnations within the 100 reincarnations before I can break free from the 100 reincarnations? Yes. As long as you can persevere and complete the 100 reincarnations, then the host's future will be limitless. Lin Rei, who was originally thinking, suddenly woke up from the system in his mind and unsealed Lin Rei's memories. Lin Rei recovered his memories outside of the 100 reincarnations. Lin Rei knew where he was now. Ah, you beast. Let go of me. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was talking to the little dragon, suddenly heard a familiar voice from his heart and woke up. When he saw the scene in front of him, Lin Rei was completely enraged. Although this was the 100 reincarnations environment and he knew that everything in front of him was fake, Lin Rei's feelings were real. When he saw his mother being pressed to the ground by a man who was about to rape her, the hostility in his heart was directly awakened. Bastard, bastard. You all deserve to die. You all deserve to die. Lin Rei's angry roar broke the original scene. After hearing Lin Rei's shout, everyone present, including Wang Yuro, turned their attention to Lin Rei. Yo, isn't this the young master who was an idiot for more than 10 years? How come he's fine now? It's a pity that it's too late. But just in time, you can see how your mother was conquered by me. Wahahaha. At this moment, after seeing Lin Rei's angry expression, the middle-aged man who was riding on Wang Yuro's body teased while looking at Lin Rei while tearing Wang Yuro's clothes. At this moment, Wang Yuro had already forgotten to resist. Seeing that her son was fine, Wang Yuro's entire face was filled with tears. Run, run. Rei, run. When Wang Yuro came to her senses, she saw that her son had returned to normal. She also saw that the people around her were glaring at her son. Wang Yuro couldn't help but feel nervous. Thinking of her son's consolation, Wang Yuro screamed at the top of her lungs at Linley. As for the people who saw this, some of them were moved to tears, while others were looking at Linley with killing intent. Run? Do you think he can run away? You'd better worry about yourself. Hearing Wang Yuyan's words, the middle-aged man's hands slapped towards Wang Yuyan's face. Wang Yuro seemed to have accepted her fate and closed her eyes, waiting for the slap to land. But after waiting for a long time, she didn't feel any pain. She opened her eyes and saw an unbelievable scene. She saw a hand grabbing the middle-aged man's arm and stopping him in midair. Humph, I've never caused trouble, but I'm not someone who's afraid of trouble either. Those who touch my reverse scale are usually the ones who die the most miserably. It turned out that when the middle-aged man was about to hit Wang Yuro, Lin Rei directly stepped beside the middle-aged man and grabbed the hand that was about to hit his mother. Bang! Lin Rei's other hand directly hit the middle-aged man's head. With just one punch, no matter if it was brain matter or blood, all of it splashed onto Wang Yuro's body. Mother, I'm sorry, I've made you suffer. After Lin Rei killed the middle-aged man, he directly threw the man's body to the side. Then, he took out a set of women's clothes and gave it to Wang Yuro. Then, he set up a barrier to help Wang Yuro change her clothes. Humph, you all deserve to die. How dare you treat my mother like this? Lin Rei walked out of the barrier and looked at the crowd. Without saying anything, he directly summoned the red flame tiger that was already at the peak of the gold core stage. What is this thing? Originally, the crowd was already shocked when they saw the rumored silly young master. But now, there was an additional demonic beast that looked like a wolf and a tiger. Red flame tiger, kill them for me. I want all of them to die, including the entire imperial capital. I want the entire imperial capital to pay the price for the humiliation my mother suffered just now. A scene that the young man was familiar with appeared. In it, he became the grandson of a duke. But his voice was too sad. Looking at this scene, the young man was stunned and frowned. Who am I? I am Lin Rei. I am Lin Rei who wants to reach the peak of the Tao. Why? No, I am not Lin Rei. At this time, the young man was anxious and in the fog, he was crazily shouting at the stone in front of him. No, I am not Lin Rei. I am Sakura. Yes, I am Sakura, Lin Rei's avatar. This time, I am here to help the main body find two kinds of Tao. His clear mind was clear. In an instant, the scene of his mother being persecuted by the gods in front of him blurred and finally disappeared completely. Looking at the disappearing scene in front of him, Sakura was stunned. Cold sweat flowed down his cheeks. Huff, damn it, I didn't expect to meet my inner demon here. But, why is it like this? The scene just now was too real. Little dragon, even the system's little dragon appeared. This made Sakura the most puzzled. Chapter 895. The Butterfly Valley that was originally as tranquil as a lake was no longer as tranquil as before due to the fact that there were cultivators who never returned. More and more cultivators began to arrive at the Butterfly Valley. Of course, Sakura was one of them. However, the instant he entered the Butterfly Valley, it was as if he was possessed by an inner demon. However, fortunately, as an incarnation, he was not worried about the inner demon at all. That was because he knew that it was not his inner demon. It was the inner demon of the main body, Lin Rei. When he recalled the illusory realm he entered earlier, Sakura started to worry about Lin Rei. If he was able to comprehend the inner demon, then what about the main body? As the source of the inner demon, what should he do? At that moment, Sakura wanted to return and inform the main body. However, when he recalled the bizarre incident that happened in the Butterfly Valley, his kind heart started to surge. There should be something extraordinary in the Butterfly Valley. Since we're already here, it won't matter if we wait a little longer. Furthermore, after saying that, Sakura had a calm expression. Furthermore, Lin Rei's main body is so powerful. I believe that he should be able to withstand an inner demon. Although he had a calm expression when he said those words, he was feeling weak in his heart. Although he knew that the main body was very powerful, he was uncertain about something like an inner demon. Suddenly, a chilly wind blew from the depths of the Butterfly Valley. It was an intense and cold wind. It was as if blades were slashing across his face. A feeling of pain entered Sakura's heart. Holy shit! What is this thing? Feeling the chilly wind blowing past him, Sakura was extremely shocked. He knew his own body very well. However, what about now? Merely a chilly wind was able to make him feel this way. Although his body was not as strong as Lin Rei's, it was impossible for an ordinary god emperor to leave a mark on his body. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the Butterfly Valley was mystical. Regarding this, Sakura, who was even more curious, decisively gave up on the idea of returning. Raising his head and looking forward, his eyes were filled with firmness and determination. A trace of a smile flashed across the corner of Sakura's mouth and a bright light flashed through his pupils. Ah, let me see what you are. Let me see exactly what you are. You're actually capable of making others unable to return. As soon as he finished speaking, a jade flute appeared in his hand. An astonishing sword aura revolved around Sakura the instant he held the jade flute, without the slightest bit of disorder or leakage. At this moment, if there was an expert of the sword Dao here, seeing the sword chi around Sakura's body, he would probably be so shocked that his jaw would drop. To be able to control the sword chi around his body without leaking any of it, this level, was something that ordinary experts of the way of the sword could not achieve. He lifted his foot and slowly walked forward. His eyes were filled with vigilance as he looked around. After what happened just now, Sakura didn't dare to be presumptuous at all. Just a single Yin wind transformation was enough to make him feel pain, and this was just the beginning. What happened next? No one could say for sure what would happen the deeper they went. He let out a long breath. His heart was in his throat, and his body was tense as he slowly walked towards the depths of Butterfly Valley. His speed was as slow as a snail's. However, at the entrance of Butterfly Valley, not long after Sakura entered Butterfly Valley, the originally deserted Butterfly Valley gradually became more and more crowded. Of course, it was only a slight increase. Although people came, they didn't intend to enter the valley. Every one of them stood at the entrance of the valley. Their eyes were locked on the mist-filled area in the valley. Their faces were solemn, and they were frightened, not daring to be presumptuous. People. More and more people came. Not to mention 1,000, there were at least 300 or 400 people. However, although there were many people, none of them wanted to enter and explore. Do you want to go in? Wealth comes from danger, but the danger inside is beyond our imagination. What a pity, yeah. Although wealth comes from danger, there were quite a few people who entered before, but what happened in the end? In the end, none of them came out. Tisk, if they didn't come out, it means that they didn't have the ability. This time, I heard that several major sects have sent people here. Moreover, the people who came were all monarch gods. Maybe this time, the strange change in Butterfly Valley can be completely solved. Hearing this, the 100 people present were stunned. Their faces were filled with shock. They all yearned to join the major sects, but they didn't have the talent for cultivation, so, regarding those major sects, everyone present could only watch from afar and not go forward. Are you sure? Your major sects will really come? Yeah, why would those major sects take a fancy to a small place like Butterfly Valley? You're not lying to us, are you? The person who spoke before was stunned by everyone's reaction. Then, he snorted coldly. What do you know? My wife's younger brother is an outer disciple of one of the major sections. I heard that this time, the major sects have sent out many people, and all of them are elites. This is where they came from. This strange place, Butterfly Valley, has already attracted the attention of several major sects, so, just watch. It won't be long before he comes. At that time, you'll know whether I'm right or not. This. Hearing the determined tone of the person who spoke, and his face was filled with confidence, everyone started to believe him. However, they only believed him a little now. Before the disciples of the major sects arrived, they wouldn't completely believe him. I'd like to see if those major sects will really come to this small place, Butterfly Valley, as you said. Talisman Sect, Random Courtyard. At this moment, Lin Rei walked out of the living room with a smile on his face. However, his brows were knitted together. His expression was very contradictory and puzzling. Sigh. He stood in the middle of the courtyard and raised his head to look at the beautiful sunset. A sense of urgency rose in his heart. Time is fleeting. It's like a white steed flitting past a crack. Time always passes especially quickly for me. As for me, I'm also racing against time. I really don't know when it will end. When you achieve your Tao, you'll naturally transcend this world. Time, to you at that time, it'll be nothing more than a number. A sudden voice stunned Lin Rei. The person who spoke was none other than the system. It had been a long time since the system appeared. After hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was stunned and smiled bitterly. You make it sound so easy. To transcend time. I'm afraid that even the great god Pangu, who created the world, couldn't do it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been schemed to death by the Tao. Moreover, the extreme realm of Tao. I always feel that there's a realm above Hongmeng. Sigh, he let out a long sigh and was filled with helplessness. The extreme realm of Tao is something that everyone yearns for. Let's hope that I can achieve eternity one day. You will. I believe in you. I also believe in the little dragon and I. With the help of the system, achieving the extreme realm of Tao is only a matter of time. Moreover, as the system spoke, it suddenly paused and continued, aren't there 2 Taos that have been stripped? Isn't this a good opportunity? Oh. Lin Rei was puzzled. He didn't understand what the system meant. Damn you. Looks like you really have to wait until you reach the Holy Realm and go to the system's library to think about knowledge. Seeing the puzzled look on Lin Rei's face, the system sighed in disbelief. Lin Rei was speechless. He didn't say anything. What else could he say at this time? After all, the system was right. Moreover, the little dragon had said the same thing before. Of course. If Lin Rei hadn't been able to understand it himself, he would have gone back long ago. In this short period of time, he had also realized his own shortcomings. So, just say it. Looking at Lin Rei, the system said, 2 great Taos. Although they are only 2 out of the 3,000, if you can make good use of them, they will be very useful. Moreover, you can integrate these 2 Taos into your tone or cultivation method. And, how? How is this possible? Without waiting for the system to finish speaking, Lin Rei exclaimed. His face was full of disbelief. Why is it not possible? Although they are the origin of 2 different worlds, but the cultivation method that you cultivate is an existence that transcends everything. Moreover, don't forget that you are not under the protection of the Great Tao. It seems so. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei seemed to have realized something. However, that feeling disappeared in an instant. Regarding this, Lin Rei, who wanted to capture that feeling, could only sigh in the end. Of course. Looking at Lin Rei, the system continued, with your current strength and the urgency of time, the only thing you can do now is to devour one origin. Remember, it's devouring and not giving it away like an idiot. If you do that, I'm afraid you will end up like Pangu and be schemed against by the great Tao. When that happens, you won't even have a corpse left and will be consigned to eternal damnation. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Upon hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was taken aback and his face turned cold. But Lin Rei remembered everything that the system said very clearly. He knew that the system was doing this for his sake. Of course, Lin Rei didn't know if there were other reasons, nor did he want to know. After all, they had been together for 3,000 to 4,000 years. Since they had become friends, there was no need to mind so much. At this thought, Lin Rei curled his lips and smiled. All right, I remember what you said. When the time comes, I will absorb it with the devouring heaven spell. You don't have any objections, right? No. That's great. After receiving the system's affirmation, Lin Rei felt much more relaxed. Oh, right. Next. I'm going to go into seclusion. You've been stagnant in the field of formations for such a long time. It's time for you to improve. After all, it's not that great to be in the venerable stage all the time, isn't it? Ugh. You know. Seeing that the system directly said what he wanted to say, Lin Rei smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything else. Of course. But as if thinking of something, the system said, this mirror-breaking pill can only be used once in a lifetime. Originally, I planned to use it when you break through your cultivation. When that time comes, success will follow naturally and you will be able to break through to the saint stage effortlessly. But, since you're in a hurry, use it first. After all, there are better things waiting for you. I hope so. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei chuckled and didn't think much of it. Then go into seclusion. If there's anything, I'll do it. After saying that, the system disappeared without waiting for Lin Rei to finish his sentence. Still the same old. After waiting for a long time, seeing that the system didn't say anything, Lin Rei chuckled and didn't say anything else. Coming back to his senses, Lin Rei looked at the setting sun and then at the hall behind him. A smile appeared on his face. Then, with a thought, he locked onto his room and his figure became blurry. However, right at this moment, Linley's room was originally empty. But right at this moment, space began to twist, and a humanoid figure appeared. Whoosh! After a while, the human-like figure completely appeared. Lin Rei, who had disappeared in the front yard, appeared in his room. Opening his eyes, he looked at the familiar scene and smiled. Then, he went to his bed and sat cross-legged. Before swallowing the mirror-breaking pill, he had to circulate his cultivation to perfection. Only then could he eat the pill with peace of mind. 6 hours passed. Linley once again opened his eyes. A flash of light flashed past his eyes, then disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Linley's eyes were especially bright, like a cluster of stars. It's time to break through. After saying that, a pill the size of a longan appeared. A pill fragrance instantly filled the room. Looking at the pill, Lin Rei's heart trembled. Then, he closed his eyes and raised his hand, stuffing the pill into his mouth. With a gulp, the pill was roughly stuffed into Lin Rei's mouth. He didn't have the mood to taste it. Boom! Suddenly, a mysterious power appeared and engulfed his entire body. Then, it rushed towards his Naiwan palace and the top of his head. At this moment, the entire room quieted down. With regards to breaking through, Lin Rei was determined to succeed this time. However, what Lin Rei didn't know was that while he was in seclusion, his clone, Sakura, who was millions of miles away, was in trouble. Inside the Butterfly Valley, after Sakura decided to move forward quickly, he had no intention of stopping. But, who knew that after a long period of time, the final result was that he would appear at the place where he entered from. In order to verify his thoughts, Sakura tried a few more times. The final result was the same. In the end, Sakura came to an answer. Ghost hitting wall. Of course, it wasn't the real ghost hitting wall. It was just a metaphor, similar to ghost hitting wall. However, outside Butterfly Valley, it wasn't like before. At this moment, it could be said to be a gathering of heroes. Moreover, more than half of them weren't from the God realm. If Sakura was here, he would definitely think that these people who thought too highly of themselves weren't from the God realm. They were all cultivators from the holy world. How is it? Everyone, guess which of the two Daos is in Butterfly Valley? At this moment, a young man spoke. However, when he spoke, his gaze never left the entrance. Do you still need to say it? Suddenly, a rough voice sounded out and broke the silence. Space and slaughter. Since I can't sense space here, then it must be the Tao of slaughter. Chapter 896. No. No. For a moment, everyone nodded in agreement with the young man's words. Naturally, there would be objections. At this moment, a weak but determined voice sounded. Everyone was stunned when they heard this voice. They turned their heads to look for the source of the voice. They saw a monk wearing a monk's robe with a string of Buddhist prayer beads in his hand. There were dense words engraved on it that could not be seen clearly. No thoughts. Everyone looked for the source of the voice. When they saw the true appearance of the person who spoke, everyone present was stunned because the person who spoke at this moment was a bald young monk. His face was kind, and a refined and sacred aura was emitted from the little monk's body. It was as if he was bathed in the Buddha's light, which warmed people's hearts. Wu Nian, you tell me, why do you say it's not, in the view of your Buddhist disciple, tell me where this place is, since there is no power of space, and you said it's not the way of killing, then I want to ask. What is here? Yes. No thoughts, what you said is a bit wrong. There is no space power, and you said it is not the way of killing. Tell me, what is here that can make the cultivators who enter unable to come out? Yes. Yes, at this moment, everyone was like a fence-sitter. After the first person spoke up, they all stood up with the wind. Alas. Looking at everyone's questioning appearance, Wu Nian's heart trembled, and a sigh rose in his heart. Looking at this group of people who came down with him from the holy world and claimed to be the proud sons of heaven, Wu Nian's heart was disappointed. Although there is no way of killing here, there is a huge natural formation here, but... As he spoke, Wu Nian's brows formed the word Chuan. But what? But... Looking at the crowd, Wu Nian turned his head to look at the valley. Looking at the place where the fog was, a hint of doubt appeared. But... I don't know why, the people who entered before were fine, but recently, it seems that this natural formation has awakened. It can't be said to be awakened. Or it can be said that there was no condition to form a natural formation in the heart. At most, it was a treasure land, but... I don't know why, but a natural formation appeared out of thin air here. Why is this so? Looking at the valley, Wu Nian's brows furrowed even tighter. He couldn't understand. The moment he arrived, he felt that there was no killing path here, but what puzzled him was that there was a natural formation here that shouldn't be here, but now, it appeared. The terrain and mountains here didn't seem to have the conditions to form a natural formation. What? Appearing out of thin air? A natural formation? Everyone listened to what Wu Nian said. For a moment, everyone frowned and looked at Wu Nian with a look of watching a joke. Just now, Wu Nian's words made everyone laugh in their hearts. For his words, no one believed it. In their impression, natural formations were formed naturally. It was impossible for them to appear out of thin air. Moreover, they had never seen one before. What was even more mysterious was that, the terrain here was simply not enough to form a natural formation. What's going on? Without paying attention to the eyes of the crowd, Wu Nian is very dignified at the moment. This matter is too strange. Even the veins of mountains and rivers that he has practiced have never had such a strange scene. Furthermore, this was the God realm. If there was such a situation in the holy world, there would be nothing to say, but, this was the God realm, a place that he could not touch at all. TSK. Forget it. Look at him now. He's just a liar who doesn't know anything. There's no killing path. I think he wants to take it all for himself. Suddenly, a discordant voice appeared, followed by everyone's doubts. At this moment, the voices of doubt were like a tide, out of control. More, the little monk is quite sneaky. I didn't expect him to look so white and clean, so shameless. Indeed, in the holy world, Wu Nian's reputation is well known. I didn't expect him to be such a shameless person. Indeed. It really is a disgrace to all of us to call someone as scheming as him a comrade. It really is a disgrace to the saints' world. You, the people behind Wu Nian, looking at the people in front of them slandering their young master, how could they bear it? Thinking of the sect master and Wu Nian's father's instructions before they came out, suddenly, a group of people wanted to attack together. Although the other side has a large number of people, but, in the face of the other side's slander, even if the other side is strong, it's not a problem to fight. Enough, just when everyone was ready to attack, the silent Wu Nian spoke, but at this moment, his brows were more than before. Jianghu, don't be impulsive in the future. How can the disciples of Buddhism fight and kill? Besides, they don't understand, that's their business. They don't understand, it can only be said that they don't involve in this area. With that, Wu Nian said seriously, this matter ends here. Why don't I tell everyone that we'll be going in later? I want to see exactly who it is that is capable of creating such a magnificent formation in a place where there was originally no natural formation. At this moment, the young monk who was the leader of the group was about to seek justice for Wu Nian when he heard Wu Nian say so. He nodded and glared at the group of people, then turned his head and ordered Wu Nian's words. Humph, no, they said that since no one knows and is even more uncertain, it's better to go in and find out, so that it's clear at a glance. At this moment, someone suggested. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up and they all nodded in agreement. That's a good idea, I agree. Agreed. Good, I agree. At this moment, everyone nodded in agreement to the person's suggestion. In this regard, everyone took a break, tidied up, and stepped into the foggy butterfly valley. Alas! Reckless, TSK. I really don't know how you became the holy world's heaven's pride. Looking at the crowd disappearing into the fog, Wu Nian still stood in the same place, shook his head helplessly and sighed. Master, at this moment, Jianghu stepped forward and looked at the disappearing figures of the crowd. His heart changed in a hurry and wanted to say something, but just as the words just blurted out, he was stopped by Wu Nian. I know what you want to say. Looking at Jianghu, Wu Nian continued, this formation is very large, I'm afraid it will take a long time to really enter the butterfly valley, so, don't panic. Besides, even if we go in, what can we do? The array formation still hasn't seen any clues yet, so, don't worry. After saying that, his eyes were filled with anticipation and excitement as he looked at the entrance of the butterfly valley. His heart was already filled with anticipation. He really wanted to see who could make such a big commotion. In the outer layer of the butterfly valley, in the fog, Sakura looked at the fog in front of him with a worried face. His heart was vexed. How could this be? You've tried all kinds of methods, but none of them worked. During this period of time, Sakura used all the methods he could think of, but the results were disappointing. The final result could be seen from where he was at this moment. Looking at the fog in front of him, and it didn't weaken at all, he couldn't help but think of the original body. If only the original body was here, with his identity as a venerable level formation master, I believe he can break through the fog here and enter the real butterfly valley. Of course, he wanted to return. After all, he wasn't by the original body's side now, and now the original body was very far away, so it was useless to think about it. As the saying goes, it's better to rely on oneself than on others. Looking at the fog, Sakura's heart trembled, and then a battle tactic appeared. Since this place is like an illusion, and it can also attract inner demons, then if this formation is an environment, then... Thinking about it, Sakura felt more and more that this was a possibility. After all, he didn't think about it before, but now, thinking of this method, he had to give it a try no matter what. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. Thinking about it, Sakura closed his eyes tightly, ignoring the closing, and entered a state of selflessness. Everything around him, everything that he could perceive, turned into darkness at this moment. Humph, damn it, if I don't succeed this time, the original body will leave directly. Thinking about it, he said fiercely, and then walked forward. At this moment, he didn't know what was around him, and it was possible that he would run into a wall. Phew, letting out a long breath, although his face was full of determination, he couldn't help but pray that he could enter the Butterfly Valley. After all, he had wasted so much time here. If he didn't go in, he would feel that he was losing out. With this thought in mind, and with a heart of luck, he walked on the path that he accidentally stumbled into. In a valley, there was a waterfall that was 100 feet tall, and there was a pool of water. The surroundings were covered in lush greenery, and little beasts were crawling and playing in the forest happily. At the center of the pool, a woman had already undressed and entered the pool. Her long hair fluttered in the wind, and there were droplets of water on her face. Her skin was smooth, and there was a smile on her face that made people want to eat her. Overall, she was a beauty. If a woman's beauty index was 100 points, then the woman in the pool at this moment was 95 points. He, little white, you're messing around again. We've already taken over their territory. Although this place is ownerless, it's still our fault. Why don't you release the people you captured earlier? After all, they have family members. What if their family members get anxious? At this moment, the woman looked at the shore with a slightly guilty expression. However, at this moment, where the woman's gaze landed, there was no one. There was only a rabbit, a snow-white rabbit, but there was a tuft of red hair on its forehead, which was very eye-catching. Tian Ning, what are you talking about? A woman's voice sounded. However, the person who spoke was no one else. It could be said that it wasn't a person, but the rabbit with a tuft of red hair on its forehead. At this moment, the rabbit raised its head and looked at the woman in the pond. It looked like a senior teaching a junior a lesson to the girl called Tian Ning. Tianing, remember this. Since we've come here, this place is ours. They recklessly walked in here and even tried to do improper things to you. With this, we'll make sure they die without an intact corpse. They won't be able to enter the great Tao in life, and won't be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation in death. If it weren't for your pleading, how could they still be alive? Since their memories have been erased and they have become servants, there is no reason to release them. What's more, it took me a lot of effort to turn this place into a natural formation. Now that we have these people as bait, we can just describe this place as a man-eating place. Over time, they won't be coming back, right? Alright. You, sigh. Forget it. Hearing Little White talk so much, Tian Ning continued to talk outside and took a bath. No, wait, did someone come in? Suddenly, Whitey, who had already laid down and was about to sleep, suddenly raised its head and looked at the entrance of the valley with a shocked expression. Then. You don't have to. Continue bathing. I'll go take a look. I want to see who is able to break through the natural formation I set up. Without waiting for Tian Ning to finish speaking, it rushed towards the entrance of the valley. Its speed was as fast as lightning, disappearing in an instant. Sigh. At this moment, Tian Ning, who was in the water, looked at the disappearing Whitey and sighed. Then, she ignored it. He came in. At this moment, a young man was holding a jade flute. His eyes widened as he looked at everything in front of him. At this moment, there was no longer fog. What appeared in front of him was lush green trees and colorful flowers. Looking at all of this, the young man's face revealed a smile and excitement. How could I, Sakura, be trapped by a small illusory formation? Really? At this moment, the young man was none other than Sakura, who had previously sealed his 5 senses. After a long journey, he had finally succeeded in carving out the place that had troubled him for a long time. Thinking of this, he raised his head and looked around. At this moment, he noticed that the Butterfly Valley was actually like this. The valley wasn't big, but the spiritual energy here was many times denser than outside. Of course, this was of no use to Sakura. The only thing that Sakura liked was that this might be a place where he could live a peaceful life for a long time. Perhaps it was because Linley had been distracted, which was why he had such a thought. If this lord was here, I'm afraid he would like this place very much. With that, Sakura smiled and walked towards the depths of the valley. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air came from afar. At this moment, Sakura, who had just lifted his foot, heard the sound of something breaking through the air. His smile disappeared and he looked ahead with vigilance. Rabbit? Looking up, Sakura was stunned. His face was filled with astonishment. At this moment, what he saw was a rabbit rushing towards him. However, he quickly recovered from his astonishment. Although it was a rabbit rushing towards him, its speed, even he was a little shocked. Chapter 897. Not bad, kid. I didn't expect you to be able to escape from the power of nature. The rabbit stopped in front of Sakura and looked at him with a slightly shocked expression. However, this kind of shock disappeared in an instant and turned into indifference. Sakura had never seen anyone with this kind of indifference. Even if it was the original body. Sakura had never seen this kind of expression before. Looking at the rabbit, Sakura smiled. Heh. It seems that what I thought before was right. This is a natural formation. He had thought of this possibility before, but he didn't expect that this kind of environment and terrain could produce a natural array. However, at this moment, after hearing the rabbit's words, Sakura's imagination was at least confirmed. Oh? You thought of it before? The rabbit asked. That's right. To be able to make me go around in circles for such a long time, it's either that array is especially powerful, or... Sakura smiled and continued, or that array is a natural array. Speaking until here, Sakura was a little grateful to Lin Rei because he was Lin Rei's clone and Lin Rei's array was at the revered level. Although he didn't inherit Lin Rei's array, but it was impossible for an ordinary array to trap him and Lin Rei's clone. Ah. I've underestimated you. Looking at Sakura, the rabbit smiled and nodded. Say it. Who are you? Why are you here? What race are you? Do I have to answer your question? Looking at Sakura's question, the rabbit looked at him strangely. Yes, of course. Because if I don't know your name, I can't always call you hey later, right? That's true. For a moment, the rabbit didn't react and subconsciously spoke of his origin. Kid, you'd better watch yourself. Saying that, the rabbit lifted his arrogant head and said, this young master is called Whitey. As for my race? At this point, Whitey couldn't help but pause for a moment before continuing, look at my handsome and dignified appearance. Could it be that you still can't tell? Young master is a dubhy rabbit, a purebred, boring and noisy purebred dubhy rabbit. Handsome? Yes. Why, don't you have any? Heh. Hee, mighty. F*ck, that's a must, right? Why can't I see it? At this moment, Sakura was dumbfounded. He had seen shameless people before, but it was his first time seeing someone as shameless as Xiao Bai. However, he was right about one thing. The dubhy rabbit was a purebred. Mighty. Handsome. How shameless. You clearly have a bad hobby. Seriously. Looking at Little White, Sakura couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Then, with a serious expression, he looked at Little White and continued, then where did you come from, why are you here, and, as he spoke, he turned his head to look at the natural formation behind him and said doubtfully, this natural formation shouldn't appear here. The terrain here doesn't have the conditions to produce a natural formation. Oh. Not bad, I didn't expect you to know about this. Looking at Sakura with a surprised expression, Little White didn't expect him to know about this. He ignored Little White and looked at him with a doubtful expression, waiting for his answer. All right then. Understanding Sakura's gaze, Little White continued, since you have such good eyesight, then I will tell you. This formation was made by young master, but... As he spoke, his originally excited gaze revealed a trace of complaint, but this formation is too big, and I couldn't control it for a moment. In the end, my mental power became extremely sluggish, and I need to rest for a long time before I can recover. You made it? Looking at Little White, Sakura was shocked. One must know that even with Lin Rei's powerful formation, he didn't have the ability to set up a natural formation. But the person in front of him. The rabbit in front of him was actually able to do something that Lin Rei couldn't do. Just thinking about it was enough to make people shocked and exclaim in admiration. If Lin Rei knew about it. Then, that's not right. That's not right? Just when Sakura was shocked, Little White's bewildered voice entered his ears. That's not right. Damn it, didn't I come here to investigate who came in and wanted to refine him into a puppet? What am I doing now? Revealing my background? Am I crazy? At this moment, Little White suddenly came to a realization. Thinking of his purpose of coming here and what he did after coming here, Little White couldn't help but want to give himself a big slap. Turning me into a puppet, TSK, this idea is indeed not bad. When Little White was talking to himself, Sakura came back to his senses. However, when he heard that the food in front of him wanted to refine him into a puppet, for a moment, a cold intent rushed out from the bottom of his heart. That's right. Raising his head and looking at Sakura, Little White straightforwardly said without a trace of concealment, looking at your performance when you first arrived, I was very satisfied. Originally, I wanted to erase your consciousness and make you my servant, but... After seeing you, I changed my mind. I feel that it's too much of a pity to make you a servant, so, you want to refine me into a puppet, right? Without waiting for Little White to finish, Lin Rei continued. Yes, that's right. Hearing that Sakura was right, Little White immediately nodded his head in agreement. That's a good idea. But... what's the difference between a servant and a puppet? Aren't they both working under you? Regarding this question, Sakura was a little puzzled. Of course it's not the same. A servant is a fool without any thoughts, an idiot, a plaything. A puppet is different. He has thoughts. Not only does he have thoughts, he will also retain everything that he had when he was alive, such as cultivation, such as battle techniques, such as battle experience and so on. You've thought it through quite clearly. Hearing Little White's differentiation, Sakura understood that Little White had such a plan. However, it was a pity that he was just a clone. Although he had such a powerful cultivation base, as long as his physical body was destroyed from the inside, then, his cultivation base would be completely gone. Of course, the most important thing was that Sakura didn't feel that he could be subdued and refined into a puppet. On the contrary, he felt that he could capture Little White and give it to Lin Rei. After all, he was able to set up a natural formation. Just this point alone was already very, very precious. He would definitely improve and Lin Rei would be especially fond of him. You've thought it through, but what? Little White suddenly spoke. But, I don't want to be refined into a puppet by you. On the contrary. I want to capture you and give you to someone else. I believe that person will repay you. You. What did you say? Little White was furious. Seeing Sakura saying that, Little White was unhappy. What did he mean by that? Wasn't he just treating him as an ordinary rabbit? Heh. You think I'll say it just because you want me to? Wouldn't that be too embarrassing? However. As he spoke, Sakura changed the topic and continued, since I like you, then I'll tell you one more time. Obediently come into my bowl. No, obediently come into my pocket. Hurry up, don't force me to make a move. As he spoke, he placed the jade flute in front of his chest, as though he was prepared to fight at any moment. You. You're unforgivable. For a disobedient person, even if you're refined into a puppet, it wouldn't be of much use. Whoosh, in an instant, in front of Sakura's eyes, Little White moved. Her body trembled slightly to the side and she disappeared from her original position. Oh. Not bad, this movement technique. Seeing Little White's figure suddenly disappear, Sakura was shocked and his face revealed a ridiculing expression. However, although Sakura's face had a ridiculing expression, his heart was already extremely heavy. With regards to Little White's speed, even he was slightly unable to catch up. Instant kill technique, die for me. Suddenly, a furious roar came from behind. However, accompanying the roar was a bone-chilling murderous intent. How? How is this possible, this killing intent? Not good. The moment he felt the killing intent, an ominous premonition appeared behind his head. In the next moment, Sakura reacted instantly. The jade flute appeared in his hand and his right hand grabbed the top of the jade flute. From bottom to top, a cold light appeared and a long sword was pulled out from the jade flute. Sword in the flute, I haven't touched you for a long time. This time. Let's have a good fight together. As he spoke, he pulled out the long sword and blocked in front of his chest. However, at this moment, Sakura didn't stay idle. He kept the jade flute and the sword scabbard to the north. Following that, sky-splitting palm was brewing and rushed towards the little rabbit. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. Only to see a palm imprint rushing towards the rabbit, and in the hands of the rabbit, an unknown object condensed into a 3-foot-long blade of cold light. The rabbit was like a sharp sword as it rushed towards the Sakura. This brat, looking at the palm print that was rushing towards her, Little White's expression turned heavy. Just based on this move, there weren't many people who could receive it. However, but the person in front of her not only reacted quickly, he was also able to use a battle technique when he was defending. Just this kind of control. TSK. You want to rely on this palm print to make me retreat? You're looking down on me too much. Looking at Sakura, Little White clenched her teeth with a face of disdain. However, her heart was already so heavy that it was indescribable. Is that so? Looking at Little White, Sakura smiled. Since that's the case, then break it and see. However, if you can't receive it, PFFF. Then I won't look down on you. You, hearing the laughter from Sakura, Little White's competitive heart instantly appeared. Following that, the long sword in her hand turned around and rushed towards the palm print. Break for me, boom, with a loud bang, the earth began to tremble. Smoke and dust filled the air, and the surrounding lush trees and flowers were instantly turned into ashes at the moment of this resonance, vanishing into thin air. This young master is the strongest. How is this possible? PFFF, suddenly, the sound of flesh being cut rang out. Little White's complacent tone also came to an abrupt stop at this moment. Sigh. Looking at the ground filled with smoke and dust, Sakura's face revealed a trace of light. I did say that it was a palm print, but I never said that there were no other attacks hidden in that palm print, right? It turned out that previously, at the instant when the heaven-splitting palm was struck out, the assassination technique was hidden within the heaven-splitting palm. As long as the heaven-splitting palm was broken, then the assassination technique would automatically activate an attack. And this method was something that Sakura had learned and fused in the assassin organization. For this move, he had tried no less than 10,000 times before creating this tactic. PFFF, the sound of vomiting blood rang out from the smoke and dust, and the sound of heavy breathing could be heard. Ha! Ha ha ha, Little White's voice came along with the sound of laughter. You're not bad. You can even create such a tactic. Not bad, phew. A gust of wind appeared out of thin air, and then, the place that was originally filled with smoke and dust was now completely swept away by the gust of wind, and the scene within was also revealed. Little White was seen lying on the ground with a pool of blood on the ground. It was very abnormal. You're not bad either. You can take this move of mine. Not bad. As he spoke, Sakura's face became more dignified. He clearly knew that he had used 60% of his strength just now. With such strength, even an ordinary ultimate god would not be able to block it, but now, Little White Rabbit in front of him had completely blocked it. And looking at his appearance, although the ground was mottled with blood, it was just like that. Although it looked difficult to see, Sakura knew that Little White Rabbit was only slightly injured. Hee, assassination technique. I didn't expect that looking at your elegant appearance, you would actually know such a method from the assassin organization. But, as he spoke, Little White's gaze fell on the sword and the flute in Sakura's hand. His eyes were filled with passion. Your sword is quite interesting. I wonder if you can lend it to me to take a look. Sakura, looking at Little White Rabbit's passionate gaze, Sakura felt helpless in his heart. They were obviously in the middle of a battle, but after what he said, it seemed like a friendly spar between friends. But, Sakura could not possibly let him look at the sword in his hand, because, the moment he took the sword and the flute, he swore that if the sword was there, he would live. If the sword was destroyed, he would die. So, not giving. He was very resolute and did not have the slightest intention to let the other party have any fantasy. It's just taking a look. Is there a need to be so resolute? Seeing that Sakura did not allow him to look, Little White became anxious. Although they were still in the middle of a battle, he had a hobby, and that was swords. As long as he saw a novel sword, he wanted to see it clearly. No matter what, even if he was in the middle of a battle, it would not affect his desire to admire the treasured sword. If the sword is there, I would live. If the sword is destroyed, I would die. If you want to see the sword, come and take it. I will not stop you. Seeing Sakura's resolute look, Little White was stunned and was filled with helplessness. However, his curiosity towards the sword and the flute was even heavier. Chapter 898. The more Little White thought, the more tormented his heart was. But looking at Sakura's stubborn look, Little White smiled bitterly. Sigh. I didn't expect to meet such a stubborn person, but... Thinking, Little White's eyes fell on Sakura's face and didn't look at anything else. It was as if everything around him didn't exist. Other than Sakura's face, nothing else existed. Of course, how could Little White forget about the sword and the flute? But now he thought of something more interesting. You. What are you looking at? Feeling Little White's fiery gaze, Sakura wasn't used to it for a moment. Just now she was shouting to kill, but now? What is she doing? I'm absolutely sure that you're actually quite good looking. Sakura, hearing Little White's words, Sakura was stunned. His face was full of astonishment. Damn, what's this situation? What do you mean I'm quite good looking? What are you trying to do? Human and beast hobbies? Hiss. Oh my god. The more Sakura thought, the more he felt a chill in his heart. Inexplicably, at this moment, Sakura felt his chrysanthemum tighten. A chill went up from the bottom and penetrated his whole body. Seeing Sakura's strange and alert look, Little White was stunned. Then, he thought of the things that grew in Sakura's mind. For a moment, Little White was even more speechless. He couldn't help but laugh and scold, damn, what are you thinking? This brother is... wrong, this lady's hobbies are especially normal. Goo. Lady? At this moment, Little White's voice changed. Previously it was a slightly neutral voice, but now it was indeed a girl's voice. Her voice was very sweet and it sounded like a mischievous character. Looking at Little White with a strange look, Sakura's heart trembled. Then, he smiled bitterly. She's a good girl, but she acts like a man all day long. You even called yourself a young master before? Thinking, the corner of his mouth rose and a smile appeared on his face. Looking at Sakura, Xiaobai's pupils widened as she looked at Sakura with slight anger. You don't have to care about me. I can do whatever I want. Even if this lady doesn't say anything, you don't have to care. The sudden roar made Sakura dumbfounded. He didn't know what happened to Whitey. However, at this moment, Sakura sensed something even more interesting. Killing chi. That's right, it was precisely the murderous aura. Just as Little White roared and rushed out, an intermittent murderous aura was exposed in front of Sakura. Murderous aura. Why does Little White have murderous aura? It did before, but why would a dubby rabbit have such a dense murderous aura? This is something that even I can't compare to. How many people did he have to kill in order to accumulate so much? The more he thought about it, the more curious he became about Little White. But looking at the current situation, a battle? They couldn't fight anymore. I want to go in and take a look, I wonder if I can. Suddenly, Sakura opened his mouth. However, at this moment, Little White was stunned. But it was only a matter of a moment. After regaining her senses, she nodded repeatedly. Of course, if you want to take a look, go ahead. Shouldn't you be shouting to kill me earlier? At this moment, Sakura couldn't adapt to Little White's 120 degrees change. After all, the previous Xiaobai was the kind of person who was unreasonable but silly and adorable at the same time. You talk so much nonsense. If I ask you to go in, then go in. If you continue to be long-winded, be careful that this lady will go back on her words. All right, then, thank you, sir. Sakura couldn't help but tease. After cupping his hands, he walked towards the depths of Butterfly Valley. Damn you. Seeing that Sakura didn't forget to tease her before leaving, Little White couldn't help but laugh and scold. However, the current Little White didn't seem to be complaining at all. Instead, she was looking forward to it. Tian Ning, didn't you always say that you were bored? Didn't I send you such a person? Although his cultivation is still a little lacking compared to me, it's enough to be able to chat with you. If Sakura was here and heard Little White's words, he would probably burst out laughing. What do you mean by a little lacking? You don't even need a draft when lying. I was the one who was injured, but now, however, Sakura didn't know that the reason Little White let him in was because she wanted him to be her friend's friend, a companion that she could chat with. I can finally rest. Looking at the direction Sakura left, Little White chuckled. A human-like smile appeared on her rabbit face. Then, she looked at the mountain peak and disappeared in a flash. At this moment, in the depths of Butterfly Valley, after getting Little White's permission, Sakura began to indulge himself. Looking at this picturesque scenery, Sakura's heart was very calm but also not calm. Thinking about Little White's murderous aura, he couldn't help but be curious. Looking left and right, looking at the stalks of spiritual herbs growing on both sides of the road, Sakura had an impulse to remove them. The sun on the horizon, if it turns to the sun, just when Sakura was looking at the spiritual herbs on both sides of the road, a clear and pleasant voice came from not far away. Accompanying the voice was the sound of water. There's someone else? Looking at the spiritual herbs on both sides of the road and listening to the pleasant voice that came from afar, for a moment, his heart began to struggle. Looking at Jiang Zhongjing's choice last year, Sakura's heart was filled with a difficult choice. Brother Yo, the pleasant voice became louder again. In an instant, the moment the voice became louder, Sakura's heart trembled violently. His heartstrings that had never trembled before began to fluctuate. However, the moment his heartstrings fluctuated, Sakura had an answer in his heart. TSK. This alchemist wants to see what kind of woman she is to be able to have such a beautiful and moving voice. After saying that, his figure flashed and rushed towards the direction of the voice. His speed was as fast as lightning. However, at this moment, at the entrance of the Butterfly Valley, in the fog, a show of killing each other appeared. A group of 40 to 50 people all entered the fog. However, they originally had an excited heart and wanted to enter to search for the way of killing, but, after entering the fog, they were all wrong, they regretted, they were afraid, they unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. So what if they regretted? They had to buy it for what they had done. This was inevitable. Just like Sakura, the moment everyone entered the fog, they saw that each and every one of them was brought into their own illusion by the array. However, the reason why the illusion was called an illusion was because the illusion was like a mirror. It could see the things that everyone didn't want to express in the deepest part of their hearts, even the ghosts in the deepest part of their hearts. In front of the illusion, everything would be exposed, just like now. Everyone entered their own illusion and the ghosts in the deepest part of their hearts were all released at this moment. Just like a wild beast breaking free from its cage, even, the wild beast that was released at this moment was even more ferocious than before, even, more cruel. At this moment, the young man who was sowing discord earlier had a cruel smile on his face as he looked at the few people in front of him. Looking at them, the young man's face was filled with blood. Master, why didn't you enjoy it yourself? Why did you do this? You said before that I'm the disciple that you're most proud of, but why do you always have to be on guard against me? At this moment, what the young man saw was not the companions who entered with him, but the ghosts in the deepest part of his heart, his master. Humph, bastard, what are you trying to do? Could it be that you want to kill your master? At this moment, in the illusion, the master who was called by the young man looked at the young man and roared. Ha, ha ha ha, hearing what the old man said, a trace of fierceness rushed out from the young man's eyes. Killing my master, this saying is not bad. You, shut up. Without waiting for the old man to finish speaking, the young man interrupted. Since you're so selfish and narrow-minded, then I'll help you and let you get rid of your current body. Remember, don't thank me. After saying that, the young man moved. His figure flashed and a 3 feet long cold light appeared in his hand. He placed his sword in front of his chest and instantly struck out a sword seal. PFFF, 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 the sound of flesh being torn apart could be heard in the fog. However, at this moment, the few people who were originally in front of the young man were all torn apart and separated from their bodies. As for the young man's sword, scarlet blood was dripping down from the tip of the sword. This scene did not only happen at the young man's place. The same thing was happening at other places in the fog. At this moment, on the tallest mountain peak in the Butterfly Valley, Whitey was lying on top of it. Its gaze never left the formation at the entrance of the valley. Heh, kill, kill. As long as there are more of you, the essence of your sages will all enter the formation. In this way, the formation will inevitably change. At that time, even if a better cultivator comes, it will be useless. Sakura did not know about all of this. Even if he knew, he would not stop them. After all, he was neither a relative nor a friend of those people. In the deepest part of the Butterfly Valley, not far from a pond, Sakura slowed down his speed. The reason for that was because the singing voice was not far from here. With an expectant gaze, he slowly walked toward the direction of the singing voice. TSK, why isn't Whitey back yet? At this moment, in the middle of the pond, Tian Ning was looking at the entrance of the valley. Her expression was filled with worry. Even though she knew of Whitey's strength, but the world was vast and filled with all sorts of strange things. It was possible that a powerful existence would come and suppress it. As the saying goes, it's better to be safe than sorry. The world was vast and filled with all sorts of strange things. Who could say for sure what would happen? Sigh, with a sigh, the worried expression in her eyes became even more intense. Then, she turned around and planned to go ashore. Splash, a scene of a hibiscus emerging from the water appeared. Coincidentally, the instant Tian Ning emerged from the water, Sakura arrived. When he arrived at the side of the pond, he raised his head and saw a naked figure there. Thump thump. Thump thump, seeing that figure, Sakura was stunned on the spot. His eyes were fixed on that figure and he was unable to shift them away. The moment he agreed, his heart thumped like a drum. The sound of his heartbeat became louder and louder. Who is it? At this moment, Tian Ning, who was walking toward the shore, sensed that someone was probing behind her. She turned around to look. But the instant she turned around, Tianning was dumbfounded. She saw a man who suddenly appeared and was looking at her body in a daze. Ah, a sharp shriek sounded. Even Whitey, who was leisurely watching the show on the mountain top, heard it. Hee, Tianning, you can't blame me. After all, you've been saying that it's boring every day. I'm just thinking for your sake, understand? Tisk, I'm truly noble. After saying that, his gaze fell on the magic array again. Sorry. At this moment, Sakura, who was standing beside the pond, instantly returned to his senses when he heard that sharp shriek. Then, he quickly bowed and apologized. His voice was sincere and, this was the first time Sakura apologized to someone. But what he didn't expect was that the first person to apologize was actually a woman. You. Murderous aura. Suddenly, a glint of light flashed through his eyes. His bent body involuntarily straightened as his gaze landed on Tianning once more. But the difference was that Tianning had already put on her clothes neatly. Why do you have murderous aura on you? Also, since you're here, then Whitey should be yours, right? If that's the case, why do both of you have murderous aura on you? Moreover, it gives me the feeling that the murderous aura on both of you is just one. This murderous aura is especially pure. Even Lin Ray isn't as strong as both of you. Tell me, why is that? A series of questions were asked by Sakura. Tianning, who was originally filled with intentions, suddenly froze on the spot when she heard these questions. Her eyes carried a strange gaze as she looked at Sakura. You can feel the murderous aura in our bodies? That inexplicable sentence caused Sakura to be at a loss. He didn't understand what that sentence meant, but he still said it. That's right. The murderous aura in both of your bodies is ordinary. Such pure murderous aura, I have never seen it before. Looking at Sakura, Tianning hesitated when she said the word I. At this moment, she seemed to have forgotten that just a moment ago, this man in front of her had already seen through her completely. However, at this moment, the two of them seemed to be the same. It's just that Sakura was thinking more. The instant he felt that Tianning's body had the same murderous aura as Whitey, his thoughts didn't stop for a moment and he began to think. Then, after he refuted the strong thoughts, finally, an extremely high probability thought appeared. The Tao of Slaughter, could it be that after this Tao of Slaughter came to the divine realm, it was split into two and in the end, it gave birth to intelligence and changed its form? Chapter 899. I'm impossible. Although the origin of the great Tao is powerful, but thinking about it, Disher Tian sank into deep thought. Suddenly, the scene became quiet. It was so quiet that Tianning, who was not far away, felt a little scared. This person, how did this person sense my killing intent? Why can he sense it? Clearly, I have refined my killing intent. Apart from those few people in the holy world, no one else should be able to sense it. Why can this person sense it? Could he be from the holy world? Moreover, he is coincidentally the disciple of those few people? At this moment, the two of them had their own guesses. Neither of them knew what the other was thinking. However, the two of them were thinking in the same direction. It was just that they were not the same person. What's wrong with those two? Didn't they say it was boring? Why are they not talking now that there's someone here? At this moment, Little White, who was lying on the mountain peak, glanced at the pool. Seeing the two of them like that, Little White sat up and was puzzled. Little White, this person can sense the killing intent in our bodies. Do you think he is the disciple of those few people in the holy world? At this moment, Tianning sensed Little White's aura. She did not hesitate and asked through voice transmission. What? Hearing Tianning's question, Little White was shocked. Her pupils shrank as her gaze fell on Sakura, as if she wanted to see through his origin and everything. However, the more Little White observed, the more her brows furrowed together. Her expression became even more puzzled. That's not right. The cultivation methods that those fellows practice were all given to them by that old man, Hong Jun. Based on our conversation with that bastard, I don't feel the slightest aura of those fellows or even Hong Jun from this person. Instead what? Tian Ning asked anxiously. Seeing Tian Ning's anxiousness, Little White did not hide anything. She said directly, how should I put it? I feel like he is missing something. Moreover, as the saying goes, humans have 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical souls. Even sages are no exception. However, you don't sense the slightest bit of the 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical souls on this kid. What? Hearing that, Tian Ning was shocked. What kind of concept was that? The 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls were the foundation of a human being. Without the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls, one would be no different from a puppet. Yes, this kid does not have 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical forms, but his bloodline is very powerful. Who exactly is this person? Why would he appear here at this time? Looking at Sakura, Tian Ning muttered to herself. Oh, right. Suddenly, the silent Little White slapped its forehead and said, there are 2 kinds of people in this world who don't have 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. Who is it? Why don't I know? Looking at Xiao Bai, his eyes were filled with doubt. It's actually very simple. The first is the puppets. Even after they are refined, they still don't have 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. But the second, what's the second one? I say. Why are you buying a lawsuit with me? Hurry up and tell me, or else, Hearing Tian Ning's words, Little White's face fell. She continued, the second type of person is the soul clone. The soul clone only has a bit of the main body's mental energy and divine sense, so, then he is. Since Little White explained it so clearly, Tian Ning naturally understood. However, she did not know if Sakura was a puppet or a soul clone. Sigh, seems like I have to cram some lessons for you when I have time. You don't even know how to do such a simple thing. Seeing Tian Ning was like a cultivator, Little White rolled her eyes and patiently explained to Tian Ning. Puppets don't have any thoughts because they don't have souls, and they don't have the host's mental energy and divine sense, but soul clones are different. They are separated and have their own consciousness and thoughts. Other than the 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls, so he is a soul clone. At this moment, Tian Ning continued. Not bad, smiling, her gaze fell on Sakura. At this moment, Little White was curious about who Sakura's main body was. If he could have such a powerful soul clone, then what about the main body? How powerful would the main body be? Is he a sage? Or... No. Suddenly, Sakura came back to his senses when Little White and Tian Ning were secretly probing. Young lady, this one is Sakura. It is presumptuous of me to suddenly visit you. I hope you can forgive me. It's fine. It's fine. Sakura's sudden action stunned Tian Ning. That's good. Seeing that the woman before him didn't intend to blame him, he looked at Tian Ning and said with a pleading tone, that, if you have something to say, just say it. Tian Ning said. Okay. Actually, it's like this. Just now, I sensed the killing intent in your body. Previously, at the entrance of the valley, I saw a dubhy rabbit called Little White. She also has the killing intent in her body, so, this one has a request. I hope you can agree to it. Seeing Sakura acting like this, Tian Ning was a little embarrassed. Go ahead and say it. As long as it is within my ability, this little girl will absolutely not shrink back. This lowly one wishes to examine Mrs. Pulse. Because the killing aura in your body is too pure and dense, I wish to investigate what exactly happened to your body for you to be able to endure such a powerful injury. You can't. Tianning, tell this brat that you can't. Sakura had just finished speaking, and before Tianning could say anything, Little White's urgent voice sounded in her mind. Tianning, you can't. You must not let this brat check your pulse. Although I don't know who he is and I know he is only a clone, but how powerful is this fellow's original body to be able to create such a powerful clone? However, this also proves that the other party is an extremely powerful existence. Furthermore, that fellow should be in the divine realm. After all, if he came down from the sacred realm, the aura on his body would also be from the sacred realm and not the same as now. Hearing Little White's words, Tianning frowned and asked in puzzlement, is there a need to go through so much trouble? Of course there is. Miss? At this moment, Sakura, who was at the side, looked at Tianning in a daze. His brows were tightly knitted together. Because Sakura thought that Tianning didn't agree to it. That, if it's inconvenient, then forget it. I was just saying it. Please don't take it seriously. Oh, I didn't want you to see it in the first place. Perhaps because she received too much information earlier, Tianning subconsciously said what was in her heart. She didn't hide anything and her words were very straightforward. Hee. All right. Sakura felt very helpless when it came to Tianning. However, although he wasn't sure if the two before him were the incarnations of the Tao of Slaughter, he knew that the two of them were inseparable from the Tao of Slaughter. Moreover, he didn't know. However, he absolutely believed that as the original body, Lin Rei would know it very well. After all, the original body was supported by the system. After a moment, Sakura felt relieved. At this moment, he made a decision. He would follow the person before him and inform Lin Rei to come over. As long as Lin Rei arrived, then, everything would be clear. The sky gradually arrived while the two of them were in an awkward situation. As the saying went, dark clouds pressed down on a city, threatening to destroy it. At this moment, just like that kind of scene, the sky darkened as if the end of the world had arrived. The entire Butterfly Valley's original brilliance was completely bathed in darkness. Fellow Daoist, how long are we going to stand here? I'm hungry. Moreover, the sky is dark. At this moment, Tianning opened her mouth. Her voice was trembling as if she was afraid of something. To Sakura, coming to Xiafeng in the dark was like coming to a day. Moreover, he believed that Tianning was the same as him. However, since the other party said so, then, let's go. Let's find a place to stay and barbecue some meat. At the same time, tell me what's so fun in this Butterfly Valley. After saying that, Disher Tian seemed to be the host. After saying that, he turned around and walked towards Tianning. The moment he stepped into the water, Sakura's 2 feet directly stood on the surface of the water. With a thought, he took out a luminous pearl that he obtained in the past from his storage ring. The moment he took out the luminous pearl, the area within a 1-mile radius was instantly illuminated as if it was daytime. As for the flowers and trees in the Butterfly Valley, they naturally returned to the same color at this moment. Wow, a surprised voice came from the front. Fellow Daoist, do you, still have this thing? What do you mean? Sakura didn't understand. At this moment, he completely didn't expect Tianning to ask for the luminous pearl. Can you give me the thing in your hand? That thing is so beautiful. Finally, Tianning opened her mouth. The moment she finished speaking, Sakura was stunned. Damn, so she took a fancy to the luminous pearl. As he thought about it, he felt that something was wrong. The luminous pearl wasn't a rare material, nor was it something really expensive. Logically speaking, as long as one was a cultivator, they should have this thing. Although he thought so in his heart, in the end, Sakura still took out a luminous pearl and tossed it to Tian-Ning. Here, take it. Thank you. After receiving the luminous pearl, Tian-Ning began to play like a child. She already treated Sakura, who was at the side, as if he was nothing. Could it be that she really hasn't seen a luminous pearl before? Seeing Tian-Ning's behavior, he muttered to himself in disbelief. Fellow Taoist. Seeing that Tian-Ning seemed to have forgotten about eating, Sakura felt a little embarrassed to disturb her and called out softly. Fellow Taoist. Let's leave this place first. Tian-Ning was speechless. She didn't respond and didn't open her mouth. Her eyes were still fixed on the luminous pearl. At this moment, Lin Rei really believed that she was mesmerized by the luminous pearl. Sigh. Seeing that he couldn't wake Tian-Ning up, Sakura decided to give up. However, just as he gave up, a voice sounded behind him. Kid, don't be offended. Tian-Ning is like this. As long as she sees something new, she will be like this. For so many years, she has been in seclusion and has never seen these things, so Sakura was naturally very familiar with this voice. If it wasn't Whitey, who else could it be? Hearing this, Sakura turned around and saw a heavenly pivot rabbit with a tuft of red fur standing on top of a rock. Is that so? Of course. Heh. Of course, Sakura didn't believe Whitey's words. However, he still had to act on the surface. Little rabbit, what do you think? What should I do now? Where should I stay? Don't tell me you want me to use the sky as my blanket and the ground as my bed? Yes, that's a good idea. Besides, judging from Tian-Ning's appearance, it will take her a long time to come back to her senses. So. I will have to trouble you to put up with it. Whitey chuckled. Looking at Whitey's shameless look, Sakura wanted to cry but had no tears. At this moment, he really wanted to give himself a few tight slaps. That's what you get for your cheap mouth. Look at what happened now. I don't even have a place to stay. Of course, it was useless to complain. In the end, he sat on the ground and casually conjured a ball of fire. Then, he took out the meat of a demonic beast that he had hunted and roasted it. However, he didn't stay idle at this moment. He took out the jade slip that Lin Rei had given him before he left and told Lin Rei what he had discovered. Then, he circulated his spirit energy and activated the jade slip. Suddenly, the jade slip turned into a ray of light and instantly flew out of the barrier of the Butterfly Valley and towards the Talisman Grandmaster's direction. Of course, Whitey and Tian-Ning didn't know what Sakura had done. Otherwise, how could Sakura have sent them a message? In the Talisman Grandmaster's residence, the residence of the elite disciples, Lin Rei's residence. At this moment, Lin Rei had been in seclusion for more than 100 days. However, after such a long time, there were still no signs of Lin Rei coming out of seclusion. Originally, it was just a breakthrough. However, at this moment, outside the door, Ying and Bing had been guarding the door of Lin Rei's seclusion. The moment Lin Rei entered the breakthrough, the two of them came to protect Lin Rei. Seeing that there was no movement in the room for a long time, Ying was a little worried. Bing, why do you think our husband is coming out? TSK. Is this the problem? Hearing Ying's question, Bing's face fell. After pondering for a long time, he said, I don't know. Looking at Bing, Ying rolled her eyes. I don't know if our husband is going to break through to the Harmony realm this time. I feel that our husband's power is getting stronger and stronger. However, our power is. Then, he lowered his head and clenched his fist. He activated his cultivation and felt a sense of loss and helplessness when he felt that his cultivation hadn't improved for a long time. Sigh. That's right. There's nothing we can do about his cultivation. It's the same for the others. There's nothing we can do. We can only take one step at a time. I hope we can continue to follow our husband's footsteps. I hope so. Yes. Let's be disappointed. I hope our husband won't leave us too far behind. Chapter 900. These two girls, what's there to think about? Ying and Bing didn't know that their conversation was heard very clearly by Lin Rei, who was in the room. Hey, don't worry. As long as I'm here, you won't fall behind. Instead, your cultivation will get higher and stronger. You'll even surpass me every time. Of course, Ying and Bing didn't know Lin Rei's words, let alone their secrets. Although they had doubts about the speed of their cultivation, they would never know. Maybe Lin Rei was in a good mood that day, or maybe he would give them back their freedom when they reached the peak of their cultivation. Come on, let me make the final push. This time, I don't believe I can't break through you. He closed his eyes to rest and returned to his cultivation. After a long time of breakthroughs, Lin Rei had been in a state of failure and fumbling. But now, Lin Rei had absolute confidence. Wasn't there such a saying? Succeed or die. At this moment, Lin Rei suddenly came with such an attitude, because he felt the urgency of time. He didn't have time to be slow. Boom, a terrifying spiritual force instantly rushed out of his body and enveloped his entire body. Inside his body, the spiritual force had already turned into a torrent that flowed through the meridians of his entire body. Its speed was extremely fast, almost surpassing the speed of his usual cultivation method. Whoosh! In the outside world, Ying and Bing fell into silence, quietly protecting his hair. But when they closed their eyes to rest, the sound of something breaking through the air came in an instant. Hearing the sound, Ying, who had closed her eyes, suddenly opened her eyes. She looked up in the direction of the sound and frowned. A message jade slip. When she saw the thing breaking through the air, Ying was stunned, and her face was full of anxiety. She knew about the message jade slip, which was used to send messages to find two great ways. However, at this moment, the message jade slip appeared at this time, which meant that there was news about the two great ways. Thinking about it, Ying raised her eyebrows, then reached out and a suction force appeared. Aiming at the jade slip, she sucked fiercely. Suddenly, the jade slip, which was flying according to its original trajectory, was pulled away from its original trajectory under the strong suction force. Keep. In an instant, the communication jade slip appeared in his hand. An image automatically rushed out of the jade slip and appeared in front of Ying and Bing. Main body, I am Sakra's avatar. I am currently in the Butterfly Valley. Here, I discovered that there are two people. One human and one beast. They have killing aura in their bodies, and the purity of their aura far surpasses yours. But, it's just that I'm still not sure if the two of them are the great Tao of slaughter that I'm looking for, so, if I have the time, I can come and look for him. However, there are far more sages here than in the battle between the major sections. What? You found it just like that? Hearing Sakra's words, Bing and Ying's faces were filled with excitement. Not yet, it's just that I'm not sure, so, let's wait for our husband to come out before we tell him. After all, this is the most crucial time for my husband. If we miss this opportunity, who knows when the next time will be. Hearing this, Bing nodded in agreement. That makes sense. In that case, let's wait for our husband to come out. However, while the two of them were talking, the energy carrier that Sakra stored in the jade slip had been exhausted. In the end, it completely collapsed and disappeared. In this regard, Lin Rei didn't know. At this moment, as Ying said, Lin Rei had entered a very crucial time. Whether he could break through or not depended on this moment. Break through, I must break through. In the room, Lin Rei sat cross-legged. His face was slightly pale, and his forehead was covered with sweat. He was praying nervously in his heart. Damn, you brat, at this moment, an anxious voice sounded. Little Dragon walked out of the system and stood in front of Lin Rei. Seeing Lin Rei like this, his face turned ugly. Can't you let me worry less? It's like this every time. Didn't I tell you before that you have to take the red dragon flame before eating the breakthrough pill? Really? After saying that, a pure soul force was separated from his body by Little Dragon. His palm was aimed at Lin Rei, and the pure soul was transferred to him. Boom! What? What's going on? This pure soul force. Could it be Little Dragon? At this critical moment, after feeling the pure soul force, Lin Rei immediately thought that it was the Little Dragon. Because it was beside him and could easily transfer soul force to him, apart from the Little Dragon, Lin Rei couldn't think of anyone else. Heh, it seems like I owe you again this time, really. His heart didn't waver. It wasn't because he wasn't grateful, but because if there was a mistake at this moment, then the soul force that the Little Dragon transferred would be wasted. Devouring Heaven Art, devour for me. Suddenly, the Devouring Heaven Art was activated. Under the effect of Lin Rei's Devouring Heaven Art, the soul force that was transferred to his body began to madly absorb. Refine, for me. At this moment, the Devouring Heaven Art was like a converter. While devouring the Little Dragon's soul force, it also used the Devouring Heaven Art to convert it into pure energy to replenish Lin Rei's energy deficit. Hiss, huff, pure energy poured into his veins. It was like a river that had been dried up for many years was now moistened by water. Come on, if I can't break through this time, then I would have let down the Little Dragon. Suddenly, he increased his strength and rushed towards the Sky Wind Palace in his mind. As long as he could break through the Sky Wind Palace, then he would be able to break through to the Saint Realm. This was Lin Rei's goal. Boom, gotcha, this time, although the first impact didn't have much effect, but it left a crack on the sturdy barrier. As such, Lin Rei, who heard it clearly, revealed a smile on his face. Come on, attack for me. Looking at the almost invisible crack on the barrier, he gathered all his energy and rushed towards the crack again. Boom, gotcha, another crack appeared. Although it wasn't big, it was only 2 attempts. Although the result wasn't great, but what if it was 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times? Even if 1,000 times didn't work, there were still tens of thousands of times. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Even so, after accumulating for a long time, it would eventually become a torrent. Boom, boom, again and again, Lin Rei began to madly attack the barrier. He didn't stop at all. However, every time he attacked, his head would feel a little pain. After such a long time of attacking, Lin Rei's mind had reached its limit. And the energy that supported his breakthrough had also reached its limit. If he couldn't break through this time, then it would be even more difficult to break through in the future. Slowly, the crack would crack a little with each attack from Lin Rei. However, seeing the crack gradually getting bigger, he was somewhat powerless now. No, I must succeed in breaking through. Thinking about this, the stubbornness in his bones instantly washed over Lin Rei's entire body. At this moment, the pain in his body was nothing. As long as he could break through, the pain in his body could be recovered. However, if he missed this opportunity, then he would really miss it. Break, for me. Forcefully mobilizing his energy, he rushed towards the Sky Wind Palace in his mind with a soul-tearing pain. Although he was an arrow at the end of its flight, the energy that was mobilized still had the momentum of a fierce tiger coming down the mountain. Whether I succeed or not, it all depends on this. Urging his energy, he prayed in his heart. Boom, a rumbling sound rang out. However, accompanying the rumbling sound was an unbearable pain that spread throughout his entire body. Crack, crack. Suddenly, there was a cracking sound. Hearing this familiar sound, Lin Rei didn't have time to pay attention to the pain in his body. He used his inner vision to look at the Sky Wind Palace in his mind. I broke through. Finally. I finally broke through. Plop. Perhaps it was because of excessive fatigue, coupled with the excitement just now, it caused his vision to turn black. Lin Rei's straight body fell backward. Sigh. I really don't know what to do with you. The little dragon was very clear about Lin Rei's actions. However, the little dragon didn't agree with Lin Rei's actions. However, what could he do? He was very clear about Lin Rei's temper, so he didn't appear to stop him. Looking at the unconscious Lin Rei, the little dragon's eyes were filled with concern and love. You brat, I really don't know what kind of wicked things I did in my previous life. Did I dig up someone's ancestral grave or steal someone's child for me to meet you in this life? As he complained, he raised his hand and a force rushed out, dragging Lin Rei's body up and placing him on the bed. Only then did he feel relieved. Looking at Lin Rei's pale face, the little dragon muttered to himself, "Looks like I'll have to keep an eye on you in the future. In the blink of an eye, you've already caused me trouble." Seriously. After saying that, he rolled his eyes at Lin Rei and entered the system in a flash. He didn't say anything else. However, Lin Rei was currently unconscious. His entire body was in extreme pain, as if his flesh was being sliced and his bones were being scraped. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lin Rei had been lying in bed for 3 days. He did nothing and was unconscious. The Chaos Heavenly Scripture automatically circulated and healed Lin Rei's injuries. Phew, on the bed, Lin Rei, who was lying quietly, finally moved. His eyelids twitched a few times and he let out a long breath. When he woke up, he felt where he was and frowned. Then, he suddenly opened his eyes and looked around. When he realized that the room was still his own room, Lin Rei felt much more relieved. How did I, little dragon? Just as he was thinking about how he was on the bed, the figure of the little dragon appeared in his mind. With a thought, his figure appeared in the system. He closed his eyes and his divine sense instantly rushed out to investigate where the little dragon was. Found it. Looking at where the little dragon was, Lin Rei smiled and instantly moved. He was still in the system main hall a moment ago, and the next moment, he was in front of the little dragon. You're awake. When Lin Rei arrived, the little dragon didn't make any movements. It didn't even raise its head. Its tone was even more indifferent. Yes, I'm awake. Seeing the little dragon like this, Lin Rei was especially careful with his words. Based on his understanding of the little dragon after such a long time, he couldn't act recklessly at this time. Because, at this time, it meant that the little dragon was angry. Sure enough, just as he was thinking, the next moment, the little dragon's reproachful voice came. However, the words of reproach didn't change at all from before. It could be said that there was nothing new about it. Look at you. You're always like this. Can you not always make me worry? What did I do to have to meet a debt collector like you in my life? I haven't even told you about the Realm Breaker pill. Who told you to eat it? Do you know that after eating the Realm Breaker pill, you have to break through? Otherwise, it will cause irreparable damage to your spiritual power and divine sense. You have to know that you still have a lot of tasks to complete. If something happens to you, what do you want me? No, what do you want your wife and parents to do? What do you want your siblings to do? What do you want the entire Xuanzong sect to do? Can't you just let me be at ease? Really, just like that, the reproachful voice didn't stop. It went on for a few hours. As for Lin Rei, at this moment, he was like a child who had done something wrong. He stood there motionlessly and didn't show any emotion. Instead, he humbly listened to the lecture. Sigh. I've said so much to you. Next time, you'll be like this again. Forget it, I won't say any more. Seeing that the little dragon had stopped reproaching him, Lin Rei laughed. With a shameless look, he looked at the little dragon and said, I was wrong. I was really wrong. This time was purely an accident. Next time. No, there won't be a next time. Seeing how shameless Lin Rei was, the little dragon slapped his forehead speechlessly. He didn't want to be entangled in this topic any longer. Then he said, now that you've broken through to the array realm, what's the next step? Set up the array realm? Or... Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei's expression instantly became serious. Set up the array realm. After all, the system said that I can't use my cultivation and combat techniques. So, I can only use arrays and talisman Dao to fight. Okay. Suddenly thinking of something, he asked the system, oh right, do you know of any arrays that can trap or make a saint lose their cultivation? What are you thinking about? Hearing Lin Rei's question, the little dragon directly rolled its eyes. What is a saint? A saint is an existence that is infinitely close to the Tao. And making a saint lose their cultivation? You really dare to think about it. Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei's heart sank. But... However, just as Lin Rei was about to give up, the little dragon's voice sounded again. But what? But, I do know how to trap a saint, but... I have to go to the shop to exchange for it. After all, if I were to teach it privately, I would receive the system's punishment. Think about it, think about the time when you received the system's punishment. Thinking about it, the system's body couldn't help but tremble. Okay. The system's punishment is quite scary. Moreover, the thunder calamity is the natural nemesis of souls. Although Lin Rei really wanted the array realm and didn't want to spend money, if he had to sacrifice the little dragon as the price, then Lin Rei would never do it. Heh, you brat. Seeing Lin Rei's silence, the little dragon chuckled and adjusted the atmosphere. Since you're awake, hurry up and get lost. Your two little girls are very worried. Chapter 901. Got it. Lin Rei looked at the little dragon and smiled playfully. Then, with a thought, he disappeared and returned to his original body. Phew, when he returned to his original body, a wave of pain spread throughout his body like an electric current. For a moment, Lin Rei couldn't get used to his current body. It seems that living a comfortable life for too long isn't necessarily a good thing. Feeling the pain in his body, Lin Rei got up from the bed and walked toward the door with a stern look on his face. With a twig sound, the door opened from the inside, and Lin Li's figure appeared at the door. Husband. Two surprised voices sounded from afar. Ying and Bing, who were worried, turned around when they heard the door open. When they saw the figure that appeared, their worried hearts were instantly relieved. Looking at his two wives, an inexplicable smile flashed across his face. Then, in a flash, he came between the two of them and hugged them in his arms. Lin Rei's heart ached when he saw the two of them who were slightly skinny. It's been hard on you. When I go into seclusion in the future, you don't have to stay here and guard me. I have set up a defensive formation around the periphery of this room. Even a sage would need some time to enter it. So, promise me that you won't do this in the future, okay? Husband. Ying and Bing felt sweet when they heard their husband's words. They knew that their husband was concerned about them. It's okay. Our cultivation won't improve anyway. Instead of that, we might as well stay here and guard you. At this moment, Bing spoke. That's right. Anyway, there's nothing to do. We will feel more at ease if we stay here and guard you. Ying smiled and continued, besides, in the talisman sect, other than that sage, no one is a match for us. So, don't worry. You. Seeing how stubborn the two of them were, Lin Rei sighed and didn't say anything in the end. He knew that no matter what he said, it would be useless. Based on his understanding of his two wives, as long as the two of them decided on something, even if it was him, it was impossible to change it. Moreover, they were right. In the entire talisman sect, only the saint stage experts could threaten them. As for the others, haha. Moreover, a saint could only pose a threat to Kage and Shadow at most. Only a peak Dao fruit expert could kill them. Otherwise, forget it, I'll leave it to you. Thus, Zhang Xian led the two of them into the residence. Arriving at the main seat, Lin Rei looked at the two of them and asked, "Did anything happen while I was away?" "Yes. Husband, Sakura sent back a message a few days ago." Ing hurriedly told the news that Sakura had sent over. A few days ago, Sakura was in a place called Butterfly Valley and found two people, one human and one beast. Hearing Lin Rei's promise, Ing and Bing smiled and nodded repeatedly. Yes, 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 we can't wait for our husband to accompany us. How can we be annoyed? Hee. Seeing the two of them being so considerate, Lin Rei was amused. He waved his hand and the door suddenly closed. You two can stay in the room. I'm going to start my seclusion. I hope it will be faster this time. Then, can we stay here? The reason why he went into seclusion was that he was afraid of being disturbed. Now that he asked the two of them to stay here, Ing and Bing hesitated for a moment. It's okay. Trust your husband. I can still do this. Seeing their husbands like this, the two of them finally did not refute. Instead, they nodded obediently and said, okay. Then, husband, you can go into seclusion. We'll wait for you. After saying that, Ing and Bing went to the bed and sat down cross-legged to meditate. Hee. Sensing the state of his two wives, Linley chuckled. His face grew solemn, and with a thought, he entered the system. As usual, he called out to the system. System, show me the interface of the store. Ding, received. Activating the store. Please wait a moment. The system's voice was still cold and emotionless. It was as stiff as a synthetic electronic voice. Ding, the store is activated. Please check it. After the system said that, the interface of the store appeared in front of Lin Rei. There was a dazzling array of high-quality goods. Lin Rei was dumbfounded by the sight. Because at this moment, he could afford any of the goods in front of him. Moreover, Lin Rei estimated that even if he bought himself, he would not be able to afford any of the goods. In other words, even if he bought himself, he would not be able to afford 50% of the price of the goods. Alas! Poor people are so terrible. Unconsciously, this sentence jumped out of his mouth. Forget it. Let's find the array formation first. Thinking about that, Lin Rei looked at the sky and said, System, help me find a peak Master Sage cultivator that I can control. The array formation needs to be at the level of the Saint grade. Ding, okay. Please wait a moment. The system will screen for you. After receiving Lin Rei's order, the goods on the front page of the store started to blur. Heh. I hope I can get something cheaper this time. After all, it's just an array formation. There's no need to choose something so expensive. Moreover, I might only be able to use it once. So, it's better to choose the worst one. A trace of saliva flowed out of the corner of his mouth. He looked like a pig. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Many goods appeared in the store. However, although the goods appeared, the system's voice did not appear. Ding, adjustment complete. Please check it. The system's voice sounded. Lin Rei nodded and looked at the store. However, when he saw the prices of the goods, Lin Rei's face darkened. What the hell? What is this? Am I seeing things? Or am I dreaming? Looking at the shocking prices, Lin Rei really wanted to take a knife and slit his own throat. Flowing Cloud Array Formation, Level 1 Saint Grade, 45 million. Blazing Prairie Array Formation, Level 1 Saint Grade, 48 million. Looking at the prices that were enough to crush him to death, Lin Rei couldn't stand it anymore. Just a moment ago, he said that he would buy something that was not bad, cheap, and cost-effective. But now, what cost-effective? Everything he thought of before no longer mattered. Ding, is there anything the host is dissatisfied with or needs the system service? Just as Lin Rei was thinking about his strange life, the system's voice sounded again. Of course, Lin Rei was very determined. Looking at the sky, he said, "System, you know my current situation. It's not that I don't have money. On the contrary, I still owe the system so much. Now, the prices of these goods that you found for me are really a little too high. With my current situation. Do you think I have the ability to pay so much money? Or do you think I have the ability?" Lin Rei spoke without stopping. The more he spoke, the more aggrieved he felt. After all, he was now burdened with debt. "Ding, host, I don't have what you want." At this moment, the system said without hesitation, "Something that is cost-effective, cheap, practical and powerful. Most importantly, you want something that is at the price of a divine grade level 1. Do you think such a thing exists in this world? Host, you should know that the things in the system are sold to the host at a 50% discount from the outside world. The system is already suffering a huge loss." Ugh, hearing the system's words, Linley was stunned. He wanted to say more, but the words he had just said were all blocked by the system. Linley was speechless. Okay. In the end, Lin Rei could only admit defeat. But he had to buy it. Sigh, if I owe money, so be it. It's not like I haven't owed money before. Thinking of the consequences of not being able to complete the mission, Lin Rei thought it through. As the saying goes, it's better to live than to die. As long as I'm alive, money is nothing. I can earn more money if I lose it, but if I lose my life, I'll really lose it. As he thought about it, Linley's expression turned resolute. He said, "System, recommend me a formation that can trap a peak Dao fruit cultivator. It would be best if it could suppress their cultivation. Of course. Although I've thought it through, I still have to make it cheap. Do you understand?" Ding. Okay. Please wait a moment, host. The moment the system finished speaking, the items in the shop started flashing. They were extremely fast. I hope I can find what I need. After spending so much money, please don't let me down. At this moment, Lin Rei prayed silently in his heart. Looking at the flashing items on the screen, Lin Rei was stunned. He then closed his eyes nervously, not daring to look. After some time, Lin Rei, who had been waiting for a long time, finally heard the sound of a notification from the system. Ding. Seal, a formation similar to a cultivation technique. It can be upgraded. It can be met with conditions. It will be upgraded according to the host's cultivation base and the level of the formation. Seal, there are a total of 7 seals for cultivation base. Each seal is different. However, the host can only buy 1 seal. Because the host's cultivation base is not high enough and the level of the formation is not high enough. So, does the host want to buy it? Seal. Is this the same as what I asked for? Hearing the system's introduction, Lin Rei's interest was piqued. After all, this was the first time he had seen a formation that could raise one's cultivation base. But, what worried Lin Rei was whether this was the same as what he wanted. If it wasn't, then, ding, it's the same. The power of the seal is to trap and seal the host. As long as a cultivator is trapped by the seal, his entire cultivation base will be suppressed. He will be trapped and have nowhere to go. Is that so? Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei couldn't help but confirm. Of course, I have to trust the system. Okay. I'll take it. Receiving the system's confirmation, Lin Rei nodded in confirmation. Ding. Okay, host, please wait a moment. Purchase in progress, ding. Host has successfully purchased the first level of the seal. It has been stored in the storage box. Please check it later. Ding. Due to purchase of seal, 50 million exchange points deducted. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.